About to lose on time. You have knight g2 just to block
You
everything.
can't take this knight on h3 because you made it. There's queen g2. Still can't.
King
Wait,
h2. What?
knight f5
Knight f5 check guards h6.
But he's still
Just in time.
Oh!
He's sacrificing the queen with rook c7. And rook e7 was made. He missed it.
And that's a check. Oh, queen
He has queen g8. I think he missed rook c7 intermezzo.
He did.
Queen takes h7 should still be good for white.
Look at you.
Queen f. But dude, he missed that. That was sick, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, he still gets the win, but we'll back this thing up like Juvenile and shake what our mama gave us. In this case, was an analysis board. Look at. And we are live with the 2019 Speed Chess Championship yet again alongside Grandmaster Robert Hess, International Master Danny Rensch here, calling the first ever SCC doubleheader in history. We've been doing this event for a few years, but this is the first time we will be back-to-back with two very, very good matchups.
Yeah, we have actually two excellent matchups today, and we start off with Alireza Firouzja, the young Iranian superstar. He is just 16 years old, but one of the best players in the world. As you see, his FIDE rating has crossed 2,700 in Classical, but he may be even stronger in the Rapid and Blitz segments, and particularly Online Blitz.
I was going to say, you say he's one of the best players in the world. He's one of the best players on Chess.com for sure. If you want to talk about blitz, bullet, hyper bullet, this guy throws down in the fastest time controls. Not something that Levon Aronian wants to get into against him is constant time scrambles. But let's talk about Levon Aronian and who he is. Obviously, he is the #1 player in Armenia, one of the top human chess players on the planet. He's been around for a very, very long time, and I think he hopes to teach the youngster a thing or two today.
Oh, he would love to, because he has kind of rejuvenated the country of Armenia with respect to their great chess culture. He's led them to 3 Olympiad victories. He has been among the elite players for many years now. He suffered a bit in classical chess, but he takes these online events very, very seriously. In fact, we kind of drag him out of his online retirement just to come in the Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, and he's won World Cups. He made it all the way to the quarterfinals this year again. He's very, very good at chess all around, and also one of the top blitz and bullet players, as you can see there, his Chess.com ratings. But let's bring up the bracket, remind everybody of this matchup. Of course, we are trying to fill out the right side of things this week. We've got Levon Aronian sitting right there in the #3 spot, Alireza Firouzja, the #14 seed, although according to a lot of the fans, a lot of the community, they look at Alireza as a potential favorite, definitely someone who, if you had to pick an upset potential, an upset special in the first round, this is obviously a matchup that maybe brings a lot of eyeballs today as people anticipate whether Firouzja can upset the Armenian.
Yeah, and it's funny. I see that players saying, chatters saying this is the best matchup for sure. We have 2 amazing matchups today. Of course, we have this one to start, and later, as we see on the right side of the bracket, the winner of this match will play the winner of the second head of the doubleheader, Vladislav Artemiev versus Alexander Grishuk.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in that Russian-on-Russian battle, but we'll get to that, of course, as we get a little bit closer. Let's remind everybody of the daily question. Of course, we had one to start off the week. Which underdog had the best chances? We're going to find out if the fans were correct, since Alireza Firouzja won that vote. But today's daily question, use the hashtag SpeedChess to get involved, comes to the community to ask them their advice on what other ways we could spice up the Speed Chess Championship. Obviously, the top 12 seeds are traditionally kind of seeded by rating, by invitation. We send those out to the best chess players in the world and seat them accordingly. But we've done open qualifiers. We've done Title Tuesday qualifiers, right? And what else could we do, right? There's a lot to be discussed there. You can look at the format as it currently stands. As I said, this is the seeding in terms of how we did it this year, with both the women's and the junior Speed Chess Championship winners getting spots. I really enjoyed that process, but what do you think the community will say that they can add to that format, Robert?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought that the selection process was great. I'm sure they'll say just add more events, because they all like seeing the top players play as many events as possible. Some more qualifiers could be great. I'm honestly not sure, but as we see, I want, me, I want to just get mad at Smarter Chess. So we have to talk about the match prediction for today. And, of course, we see Levon Aronian as the 3 seed, Alireza Firouzja as the 14 seed. That might surprise people.
Now, what gets you mad about this? I want to heal your guys' relationship, so let's talk about this openly.
Well, if you look at that 1 minute, the bullet portion there, to remind everyone, that's 1 minute with a 1 second increment added with every move played. Firouzja is a hyper bullet beast. And seeing a 2-game predicted advantage for Aronian in that time control does surprise me a bit.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think even Levon would disagree with Smarter Chess prediction there. The 6-4 advantage for Levon Aronian. Now, remember, the increment is the great equalizer in terms of helping these, let's say, over-the-board stronger players do better in the fastest portion, right? So we know that does change things. We know that Alireza doesn't play as much 1 minute plus 1 second increment. And if we look at the ranking there, okay, obviously Alireza doesn't have as many matches under his belt, doesn't have as much experience in the SCC, but on Chess.com he certainly does, right? But that's where that's going to have us on the edge of our seats today, Robert, right? Because who knows whether those rankings, whether the power rankings and their previous history that helps devise these smarter chess predictions will hold true today, right? And almost going to be hard to hold against anybody. But we do have the players seated and waited to join us. Levon Aronian with us, comfortably wearing his red Back to the Future jacket, which is ironic because Alireza is a sophisticated chess robot clearly sent back through time to change the future from one lucky chess commentator.
Yeah, I mean,
this guy, look at him right there. Where's he coming to us from? A fighter jet?
Just one lucky chess commentator? That hurts.
Two.
That hurts.
Two. We're here together. You know, we're so close we can touch this time. Man, technology is really coming far that they can visually put us together here, knowing you're in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm in Arizona.
And Alireza is on a starship. You know, he's ready.
Yeah, he is, and he's ready to rock. I think we're ready to rock. The games will begin here in just a moment. Without any further ado, I know that the fans are ready. Just like we are, the Speed Chess Championship has officially taken off, and we have one E4. Oh, man, look at that. Jaron is carrying here. Jaron is carrying might make a special sneak peek. It's not a sneak peek. It's a
cameo?
It's a cameo? I don't know. We'll see. All right, what do we got here? We've got a Sicilian, but not the Rossalimo, which is the popular theory a lot of people playing these days. We've got an Italian Sicilian, which is ironic. Sicilian-Italian. I don't know. I mean, you know, where is Al Pacino when you need him?
Yeah, where does your allegiance lie, Danny?
You know, that's a good question. I'll get back to you. But let's talk about this structure, right? Because interesting, you've almost got White playing exactly the kind of moves you would see in an E4, E5 game, right? And we know that Levon is an expert in these types of structures. But with the Sicilian, what's going to change the flexibility here in the center?
Well, you see that White has pawns on D4 and E4, and unlike an Italian game, there's no black pawn E5. So black has control over the E5 and D5 scores from pieces jumping there, but White has much more space in terms of the pawns. And look at Levon just going forward with a very natural plan, just rerouting his knight. And here's a critical moment. Is Alireza going to play a move like D5, and after E5 jump his knight into the E4 square?
Right.
Or is he, well, he answers the question.
Maintaining. So this is interesting because this is exactly the kind of structure that would have Aaron Nimzovich rolling over in his grave and say that White is just clearly better, right? The pawns being further advanced means they dominate more space, and with more space comes more opportunities for your pieces, right? If you just count the squares available to your pieces behind your furthest advanced pawns, that's our very literal definition of space in chess, and you can clearly see that White has more of it. And okay, that sounds very, very superficial, but it is. There's a reason why classical chess theory developed on, hey, go big or go home, get a big center. And something about this opening doesn't get me too excited about black structure. I think D5 changing it with your knight E4 plan is almost a necessity at this point.
And I think he honestly did it at an interesting moment because the bishop on D2 would have meant that if the knight got to E4, would have attacked the piece.
Yeah,
but look at
good timing.
Look at Levon and say, let's go into a mutual isolated queen-pawn position where it looks, well, should be balanced, right? But that bishop on B7, that might be a problematic piece because there's nowhere for it really to operate. If it goes to A6, then empty diagonal. So Levon really wants to, at some point, play a move like knight to E5, and then, especially now, if you put the bishop A6 move on the board, okay, you went rook E8. But still, at some moment, knight to E5, and if black takes on E5, I take with the D pawn. I no longer have an isolated pawn. Your pawn on D5 could become a target. I can make moves like queen to D3, try to put my knight on F5, and go for an attack.
I like it, and in fact, as we are analyzing knight E5 on our mini board here, Levon Aronian plays it. Shout out to Platinum member Santo23 who wanted us to share a link to guess the move, and then our moderator Tundra Mike comes through before I even have to say anything about it. Really appreciate it if any of our mods can share a link in terms of how to follow the games directly on Chess.com. You can play Guess the Move, get some shout outs, probably maybe get your username on screen today a couple times. We will give a shout out to those playing along with us at Chess.com. So Robert and I aren't here to play along and play Guess the Move. We're here to make awkward puns, maybe some inappropriate jokes, and learn a thing or two. That's what Brian Boitano would do. Let's do it. All right, Queen H5 comes in to hit F7. I already like Aronian's position a lot here. The threat of knight F5 coming next. Okay, this forces G6, but this is not This is not a position where you're going to be happy about your king side here. I don't know where the queen should go. Should I come back to free the g4 square and maybe h6 for the knight?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about putting my queen on f3 just because of potential tactics.
Yeah, let's look at it. Queen f3, you're talking about shake and bake with d4,
Exactly.
but b7's hanging.
Yeah, and I give up b7. Yeah, I guess that maybe just barely pans out for white because you take on c3 there, and then e5 is hanging. If you take back on c3, I can take back with my rook. There's a lot of things happening there.
Maybe that's why he didn't go for it. In fact, we can see Levon has put the queen on h6.
Well, he said if you like it, you better put a queen on it.
Yeah, the trade doesn't mean that black gets a discovery anymore. Now this queen is kind of stuck here. Any movement will open up the idea of an e6 clearance sacrifice followed by something happening on g7.
Yeah, and actually this knight on e3 is very well situated there because it takes away the c4 square. So the rook might want to go to c4, and that helps try to push d4, come over to the king side. But now white can play simply like rook a to d1, maybe rook to d4.
Well, you talked about the knight being well placed here, but one of the only other square that might be better might be a square like d4 if you could go to c2.
Yep.
Right, as a routing post. You also have this funny idea of just h3 and knight g4. Put the knight on f6 with check, and then mate on g7. I'm actually sitting here like, what happens on this? So we see Levon playing simple moves, bring the rooks to the center. I would love to play knight g4 and then e6.
But I guess there's always bishop f8 at the end of that. So knight g4,
Yeah,
or actually just d4.
Okay, but either way, I was going to take here and get this. But okay,
Yeah.
I know I'm probably not getting anything. But it is. Hey, it's something to look at, as they say, early morning tactics.
I like the idea.
H3 to make g4 a little more safe for that knight.
Yeah, and we should show that d4 doesn't work out for black because knight to g4 comes, and the problem is knight f6 check, of course.
Is a big problem. It's either mate or the queen has to give herself up. So there you go. H3. Best offense is a good defense, coming from the Celtics fan there, Levon Aronian. We will definitely dive into some Celtics trivia here with Levon today, I can tell you that.
And he goes for it.
Ooh, he does go for
I guess
it. D4, knight g4.
His point that...
Okay, so knight f6 would allow the queen to sack itself.
Right.
Give it up. So he's going to have to back up. But then
he'll have bishop e7. So you'll queen h4.
We might have a perpetual, you're saying?
No, I think that black's taking this one. Because after queen h4, I just go bishop e7. I take away the f6 square from your knight.
Let's look at it. The queen moves, and just like that.
Scoop off that bishop on c3.
Right, and f6 is no longer an open square.
Uh-oh.
I wonder if Levon missed that. Alireza kind of bobbing his head a little bit, showing some confidence.
Yeah, so he put queen g5.
But there's still knight f6 in some weird way, right?
I guess he has that now.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot that the bishop protected the rook on e1, but actually no, knight f6.
Well, let's analyze it. Okay, knight f6, if takes,
and then pawn takes c3.
Right. Okay, the queen's hanging.
But your rook on d1 is hanging with check. Very important intermezzo.
Okay, crazy talk. Oh, it doesn't work. I wanted to go for some crazy line where I'm down everything, but I mate you. But in the end, you have queen e5 picking up f6.
Very important check to have.
You dirty dog, grandmaster. And if I take here, you get check. You win this guy. And again, too many pieces, not enough time. Okay, you may end up getting a position like this if indeed Levon has blundered. That might be his best option. Something like that, right?
Yeah, he doesn't look thrilled.
Yeah, he's taking a swig, saying, all right, I let this one slip away from me.
Yeah, Alireza, just played very steady defense here.
Well, this could be a huge start, though. We've been talking about the storyline of these two players. Who will have the better chances as the time controls get faster and bullet? A lot of people feeling that that's Firouzja. So Levon Aronian dropping any games in blitz, not a good sign for him today.
Yeah, and we should give Levon some credit. I believe he scored higher than Nakamura did in their Speedchess Championship match last year, if I'm not mistaken. He won the 1+1 section, but at that point, Nakamura had already wrapped up the match, so who knows what the psychology was. But also for Alireza, I think one of the concerns I had in terms of his chances was that I sometimes feel like he plays offbeat lines that would get punished by a player like Levon, but here he played very solidly. Maybe he was slightly worse, but never in that rough of shape, and he held his position together very well. And I think it's just a matter of time now before
Levon resigns. We saw him shaking his head there. We updated the MooBot there for you, so you can follow Levon Aronian, not Aziri Chess, who was playing yesterday. Mamajarov gave us quite the show, despite losing.
Yep.
But there you go. You can click on that link if you're in the Twitch chat. If you're in the Chess.com TV chat, we will share links so you can follow the games directly and play Guess the Move with us. All right, Levon's down a piece here. So what happened, right? The game got away from maybe being a little bit too aggressive, but give the kid credit, right, for being resourceful,
Yep.
defending with accurate moves. And again, I think I'm just noticing the tone setter here, right? I think Levon, there's plenty of time. It's the longest portion we have in an SEC format, 90 minutes of 5-minute ahead. But okay, this could be a really good start for the youngster. There we remind everybody, of course, we have 90 minutes of 5 minutes plus 1. That means 5 minutes as the foundation time control and then 1 second added to the clock per move. And that 3 plus 1, 1 plus 1 mean the same thing. 60 minutes of 3-minute, 30 minutes of bullet. So there you go. That's our time control. And a lot of people looking at that fast time control with nerves if you're a Levon Aronian fan. That doesn't make you happy here.
No, not at all. But I think if anyone can get their composure and get their head together, it's Levon, because this guy has, like as I said before, he's led Armenia to a number of Olympiad victories as underdogs. Right, the Armenian team, they do extremely well despite being outrated by teams like Russia, the United States. And they win their Olympiads, and not to mention on an individual
and the Pro
level,
Chess League, they've got great
Chess
team
League,
chemistry too. Yeah,
very true, and not to mention for an individual note for Levon Aronian, the World Cup, where you need nerves of steel to win an event like that, and Levon Aronian has done so.
Well, now he's maybe parting with the lady soon, unless he can get away with Queen E4. The bishop is temporarily pinned. No, he just resigns, decides no reason to continue to push this one along, down a piece, and not interested in continuing. So there you have it, a huge win. Our first shout out to our guest, the mover, CK1990, gets 11 out of 25. Congratulations there. Okay. Just exciting stuff. I was laughing at chat. Angry Chess Clown wants a chess confession to be added to this PChess Championship format. We have confessionals in some over-the-board tournaments where they can take a break and say their thoughts.
Yep.
I like that idea of being added, although his specific suggestion was so he can confess his fence to me for my absolution. Getting a little creepy, Angry Chess Clown. We'll talk, go ahead and send me a private message or don't.
I'm here for Fun Master Mike saying Hess's love of a perfectly placed apostrophe is unrivaled. Mike, you just know me so
funny.
well.
You were complimenting my 3-year-old last night on her proper grammar delivery, and anyway, the kind of jokes we tell in the car today is things like, in the word sent, which is silent, the S or the C? That led to a lot of thriving conversation.
That should have been
at
our daily
5:30
question.
There you go, right? So that's the kind of stuff we get into with Robert in town. All right, we're back to an Italian this time. No, sorry, Berlin. This time, we've got Levon Aronian on the black side, e4, e5. A Berlin with d3, maintaining the most flexible approach. Bishop d6. Okay, not the most common move.
It's an opening I've played before, and I tend not to really like my bishop on d6, but if you see how the game has continued, it actually kind of saves black a tempo in some lines, because oftentimes black puts that bishop on c5, and then it has to retreat back to d6 to
guard
protect
the pawn.
the e5 pawn.
And as long as you get the exchange here, one of the biggest dysfunctional points we would advise our beginner students of never playing this move is that it blocks your pawn, which blocks the bishop, which blocks the rook, and the old lady swallowed the fly. So in these cases where the pawn is traded and the bishop is opened up, you're not really suffering in terms of your coordination. Of course, white still has a bit of a small edge in these types of positions. The edge may be increasing here on the king side. Look at this aggressive push of the h-pawn. I like it. I don't even know if it's any good, but I feel the friskiness coming from Firouzja.
Yeah, and I would have thought Levon was white, because he's actually become very well known for pushing his h-pawn pretty much no matter the opening from the white side. But it makes a lot of sense. He pushed the pawn to h5 to stop g6. And you may say, how does it stop g6? Well, before this move, knight h4, g6 would have been a hard move to play, because you h takes g6, you want to take back with the h-pawn, but with the rook staring each other down, that's a huge problem.
Right. So knight h4,
and look what he did. He just brought his knight back to f3 in the game position, because he's still trying to get this h takes g6 maneuver.
Threatening h takes g6, and that kind of forces g5. The biggest issue with this sort of permanent advance is now you've got positional access to a square like f5 and h6. Look at that move, just kind of surgically separating the pawns, right? Yeah, I love it. You're creating long-term targets when the pawns can't protect each other.
And well, the problem. Knight back to g1.
G1?
So he went knight h4, knight back to f3, knight to g1. Did someone?
It's a lot of knight moves. He's working on them.
Can someone let him know he can move other pieces?
I know, working on his knight moves over there, Levon. There goes another knight. A lot of knights today. Knight a4, hitting b2. I wonder what you're really going to do when the pawn comes to b3.
You're going to boogie knights over here.
Boogie knights. I don't know. Do we really want to invoke the Mark Wahlberg spirit this early in the morning? All right, bishop b4 played. Look at the full board approach from Levon, right? One of the difficulties here for black, everyone, is the king is never going to have a safe place, right? There's no castle short anymore legally, and even castling long is probably never going to have safety. So it's an interesting decision to make.
Yeah, and
Bring yourself to
perhaps you're saying my king will be safe in the center, but the point you highlighted earlier, the f5 square, and that is why Alireza went knight to g1, so he can bring his knight to g3 and into f5. And rook g6 is saying, well, let me try to get your h6 pawn, and maybe I can castle by hand. I'll go king f8, king g8 at the right moment, and say, with my rook on g6, my king is perfectly safe.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Although if the knights end up supplanting themselves on f5, you may not be safe even if you get there, right? So queen d4, I expect c3. Not really sure what. Oh, wait, no, there's nothing there. Almost freaked out. There's no tactic, so I don't understand queen to d7 unless this advance, I guess, helps him. He's saying that d3 is now a target.
Yep.
Right, the pawn can never back up.
Well, he says, I'm going to push it forward.
Wow, look at this aggressive approach. Castle's long.
So it's
man, oh man.
The question now is, how is white going to defend this pawn on d4? Knight to f5 seems pretty reasonable. But then with your knight on f5, I'll take at least once. And you'll have to take back with the knight. And then your e4 pawn feels a little iffy there.
Yeah.
If I can take on d4, bring a rook to e6 or something like that, I don't know. It's your white's king is in the center too, so black's king might not look so safe, but I don't think white has the safest king either.
The way you were doing that right there, I thought you were about to break into like a truffle shuffle there. You were like kind of
no.
I don't know what's going on here. The e4 pawn, the the d4 pawn. I think you're about to get the line you're talking about.
Yep. You just do have to worry about this a5 pawn hanging, because when you took on d4, the c3 pawn no longer is there, and the a5 pawn is a target.
In fact, Alireza takes back so quickly with the knight. Makes me wonder, was pawn takes a possibility?
Sneezing the truth.
There you go.
Ooh.
Hey, bless you. Rook to e8, hitting the e4 pawn and threatening queen takes f5.
Yep,
so that's a key point that makes moves like f3 not possible, everyone, because then queen takes f5.
He just castles.
What a position. This is going to be fun. Knight to g3, d4 falls, but then a5 goes with it.
Yep.
Who's better and why?
I almost wanted to
Don't ask me.
I almost wanted to play rook h4 and try to mate the white king on the h file, but the knight on g3 is very well placed there to stop any mate.
He plays king b7 quickly. Is there b4?
Is that queen getting trapped over
Almost. He's Alireza-ing himself.
He is Alireza. So.
Well, there you go. It would make sense, right?
I guess the queen can just go over to c5 in that case, but I mean b4 looks good. It closes.
You got to get the queen out now, yeah. But h6 is still falling.
Yep.
And I think
a5 for white. The king on
b7.
a5,
a6. This is irritating.
And that queen on c5 might find its way to f8 at the right moment as well, right? Like
wow, that'd be interesting. In fact, maybe Aronian's so worried about these types of ideas, he wants to get the queens off the board.
Yeah. And now the b3 pawn is under attack. I wouldn't go and take it because that opens up the b file for the f1.
No, but that's
rook.
a good point, right? Because one of the ways this position turns around quickly is if black can parry the threats and the pawns end up being weak instead of attackers, then look for black to have a very, very quick advantage in the endgame.
Would you Matthew parry them or Tyler parry them?
I go full parry the platypus.
Nice. Well done. I wasn't expecting you to.
You didn't see it.
I did not see that coming.
I just did the quick pop culture math in my head, the only kind of math I know. For those who know Parry the Platypus, first of all, you get more credit in my book. I see Jaron smiling over there. That's right. If you're not a Phineas and Ferb fan, you're not welcome in my home. My kids, watch way too much of that. So, anyway, Parry the Platypus, world's greatest super spy. Look it up.
It's the queen's on h8.
Hitting h7. But here comes b3.
You might want to take that h7 pawn. I guess black can always put that rook on h4 and try to snag the h6 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
But, was he trying to go knight d3 to f4? Some kind of mating attack? Because the b3 pawn you might want to capture.
Look at that g2 square.
All right, but that rook e8's coming, so you got to be very careful.
Who mates who, right? The king might run to c5. Let's get full Mohamed Yarv, and it's not even 9 a.m. here on the West Coast.
That would be awesome.
Man, it's barely 7 a.m. What is going on here?
Can I go back to sleep now?
Shout out to Studio C. We got Aaron and Jaron. Jaron getting his first ever Studio C appearance there. Dual producers. If you're going to have two hosts, you need two producers. There they are, working hard. Knight d3, coming to f4. I really like this plan.
So at what point do you just take this h7 pawn, try to get a new queen? Because that pawn is under attack. You can capture it.
Yeah, and the h pawn is far.
But I guess this knight d3, f4 stuff is, at any moment going to be quite annoying. So he takes first on e6. Knight takes e6 feels
Necessary.
quite nice.
Also, it brings the knight to the f4 potential.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the way to stop me from mating you on g2 is to play f3, but then I bring my
But
rook.
then, yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Ooh, why?
Can anyone explain that to me?
Something about this knight f4 square wasn't as attractive to Levon as it is to us.
How is he not worried about queen? Yeah, queen takes h7, rook h. Well, why wouldn't you take with the knight on e6?
To come into f4.
I'm very confused.
Me too.
Can't lie to you. Can't lie to you. I just
You
not really
never
getting
Johnny laying me.
I'm just.
Um,
So why is the rook on h4 does make sense? So to give Levon
okay,
credit.
puts the rook behind the pawn and potentially facing the king. But you highlighted earlier how perfectly placed this knight is, right? Guarding the h1 square kind of makes everything on the h-file a moot point.
I was thinking just okay, he went a5, which
These guys are both surprising us with their moves right now. This is like going to be one of those super high quality games. I mean, it might be a better sign that we're not able to guess the moves today.
well, he's trying to say that if you ever move your knight from c5, say you take on b3, I get a6 with check, and I remove your king from the protection of the c7 pawn, and that king on b7, it's safe for now, but if you just start moving your pieces too far away, it could become problematic.
So he keeps the knight there precisely because of that. Moves like a6 prevented. Queen to e7, a double attack, but queen d5 would solve all things. h7 follows.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen here, right? I mean, it's going to be a really interesting finish because queen d5, h7, the threat is queen g7 and h8.
Maybe he'll go knight d3 to f4.
So let's look at it. h7, knight d3, queen g7, knight f4, f3, and
queen d2.
Oh, there's got to be some kind of puzzle rush. Where are you? Check. I don't know. Check. Check. Usually in puzzle rush, I just keep playing check. So there's a good one.
And then you get the x.
And then I get the x. He just
he went b3.
b3. What does Levon see about the future here that we don't? Because is he just saying that this h pawn is just not as strong as we think it is? I feel like he's dropping the ball on the potential of the mating net counterplay, and if Alireza takes a 2-0 lead, we might be proven right.
So rook c1 here. Oh my gosh, this doesn't work. Take on h7, but then queen b4 check. Nice. That was the important.
Yeah, but you're still picking up the piece.
But you couldn't take the knight with the queen because the queen trade would allow black to get a new queen with b2, which is why he had to check first. But look at this. Exactly what I was looking for. Is that pawn
17 seconds to 20 seconds.
Okay.
Rook to b5. What a move. Defending the queen. Oh, but if he takes it, you get a new queen.
Yep.
Oh my god, he blundered that. Alireza shakes his head.
Yep.
Like, in hindsight, he's like, oh, that was obvious. What a great finish there. The Levon Aronian faith in the b pawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a little bit of instant replay to back up and for my brain to wrap my head around that because this match is about to level itself up with the rook coming to the h-file.
Yep, you go knight f1 because otherwise rook h7 check.
Here comes rook d1.
And the only check is on e3, but that doesn't work.
Right, doesn't.
Oh,
very nice finish. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
So g3, you can go g4 just to cement that pawn in its place.
Yep. Okay, g4 threatens f4, but not going to be enough because 2 pawns will be better than
b2.
Than 1. And now you can take here. And
this
is a tactic you highlighted in our previous match. I'm going to back up and show exactly that here. Let's bring up the analysis board as the net game gets underway. We will bring that up. Oop, different game. Trying to find that game. Hold your horses, everyone. We've got a lot of games going here. I'll bring up the board in just a moment.
Yeah, and there's a really fantastic finish there for Levon. He actually handled his time very well. So you gotta give him credit for that.
The analysis board is showing us the end of the last game. And Robert, in yesterday's match, for those of you that are true SCC fans, you've been here all week, highlighted a tactic where in a lot of these endgames, the key to winning the race is you sacrifice one pawn just to put the king on the back rank to ensure that when you push your pawn first, look at the difference. Black queens with check, preventing this pawn here. So I know we're backing up and analyzing blitz despite Nezhmedinov's advice, but no, seriously, this is very instructive. So take note of it. The reason Black wins the race is because of the decoy sacrifice to force the king to the first rank. And a lot of times when you're calculating pawn races, if you don't know of this idea, you might miss an opportunity to win, just like this. So anyway, really instructive finish, and Levon Aronian levels the score here. And wow. I like it.
Yeah, that was a fascinating game. It looked like it go either way throughout most of it. We liked Levon's position for a while. A little bit confused by his decision to capture on e6 with a pawn rather than knight, but he held it together and he was composed. And right now, with the white pieces, he's looking to get his first lead of the match. And this bishop on g2 looks quite nice on the long diagonal.
Yep.
And white's the only one with a dark square bishop. So the knights aren't really well coordinated here. I actually really like white's position this early because...
Yeah, let's back up and see the opening. I was focused on instructing on the endgame, and I want to see how we got here, because Levon can be an expert in some of these, I don't want to say obscure, but offbeat move orders in the English. Okay, but Alireza plays the aggressive line with e4, and his hand is sort of forced because the e4 pawn's now a target. He parts with the bishop pair. But this f3 idea, this is a really kind of typical approach here, because you're highlighting the bishop here, but the other thing is that white has the 2 pawns and eventually a big center.
Yep, and the semi-open f-file.
Yep.
So you can play a move like e4 in the current position and just keep pushing those pawns forward.
Yeah, d3, knight c5. Is this... It's not exactly, but it reminds me a little bit of the Wesley So Fabiano Caruana game from the Sinkfield Cup, where you and I were analyzing that.
Yeah.
And the early open f-file in a weird English led to a crazy position. Ultimately, draw.
Yep.
You know, but it was a fun one nonetheless. So.
This one though, I mean, just looks so pleasant for white.
Yep.
You have so many different ideas, and he played queen to d6 because he said, I need to poke at the d3 pawn. Otherwise, you're just going to expand, and it's going to be a problem. But rook d1, of course, and now bishop f4 will come with tempo. I can decide to play for a knight to d4, a pawn to d4. I can choose how.
And just optically,
Yeah,
I love these pawns. Right?
Just looks great.
Black queen g6. You might even try for f5 at some point, but okay, knight h4 puts the kibosh on that idea. The point is, black has to do something to disrupt this massive pawn center.
Yeah.
So something in the opening theory here. Perhaps our post news report will be able to tell more. You and I don't necessarily have the luxury of diving into opening theory like we'd want to here, but something did not go well for black.
Not at all. Now queen d6 is met by d4, so the pawn e4 is protected thanks to the knight being on h4. The bishop is open on the diagonal.
And here comes e5 to follow.
Yeah.
This is just a huge position.
This is just a nightmare, honestly, for Firouzja. It just seems like every single move he's getting. Oh, d4 would have been met by knight takes d4. So he at least got that trick in. That's what
I'll
Levon
show that.
overlooked.
Okay, d4 you would have taken, and then we have a fork.
Yep, and e4 is weak, so that would have been actually very nice for black. So I think Levon overlooked that. He thought.
But I don't know that it's that critical. I mean, the knight comes to f5 with tempo. The bishop to f4 could have come with tempo. I still think white is in fantastic shape here, full control.
Completely agreed. It just felt like, those moments where you make one or two imprecise moves, and all of a sudden black is able to stabilize the position. And this bishop on c1 needs to do something. But now if it goes to f4, there's probably some kind of knight e6 maneuver, just annoying the bishop. It can always go back to e3. It's not the biggest deal. But look what Levon's been doing.
Just shuffling the rook.
Rook d1, rook f1.
But again, I liked it from a practical point of view. You're playing quickly enough to maintain an edge on the clock. This queen is in a bit of an awkward spot over here. I mean, not a trapped situation, but it just feels like black lacks a lot of coordination, right? You've got the 2 knights over here, but nothing really to do against white's huge pawns. The queen is awkward.
Yeah, it's a situation where black would really like to induce the move pawn to d4.
Yeah.
So you can attack the c4 pawn. That's typically
or
what
e4,
you do.
yeah, go ahead.
When these double c pawns. You want to attack one of them. In this case, it's hard to attack either because this pawn on d3 is so strong. And Levon, I don't really understand exactly what he's been doing. I thought he's trying to go some kind of queen f3, or maybe if he's getting really tactical, trying to go bishop f3 to h5, and okay, here's bishop h3. So what do I know?
Well, no, I think that this is sort of along the lines of what you were talking about. It is a tactical approach because what he's doing is eyeing the e6 square, I think,
knight
right?
h4 traps the queen.
Oh, bishop c8.
Wait.
Did he Alireza himself?
Knight h4, it traps the queen, right?
Knight h4, the queen's trapped.
But it might be a very interesting sacrifice after knight h4.
Let's look.
Bishop h3, knight g6, bishop f1.
I was going to say take here.
Yeah, you might just take on g6 as well.
Couple of pieces for the queen. It's kind of a crazy position. Rook f4 again, just a super patient approach from Levon. Knight h4 is still on the board at some point.
Rook g4 might come in next.
Rook g4 is a threat. Wow. Actually, that's a rook lift right there. Shout out to the Berlin Air rook lift there for Funmaster Mike.
Nice. You didn't mention it at the time, but now you're doing a
Hey, I
throwback.
make mental notes. Anything my fun master Mike Baby wants, my fun master Mike Baby gets. Rook f2. So is knight g5.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, knight g5 is the obvious response.
But you just retreat his bishop. Levon has been in no rush whatsoever, and he's actually up over a minute on the clock. And that's very good news for Levon Aronian fans because we sort of expected that as the time control got shorter, it would favor Alireza, but right now you see that Levon is well ahead on the clock.
Yeah. No, and that's going to be a key point overall, right? When you don't play as much online blitz and bullet as your opponents, you got to make the practical effort to push yourself, right? Don't let time become an issue. Although I will say that when it comes to anonymous accounts, Levon Aronian knows his way around, and I think he plays sometimes more online than other people might know.
Is that just a guess?
I don't know.
It seems like just a guess.
Sounds like just a guess.
Okay, well, the more you know.
The more you know, the less you.
You got nothing there.
Yep, dude. Okay.
Just a move ago, actually, there was a very
back
interesting
up. I got it. Let's back up.
tactic, I think. After king h1,
Mm-hmm.
I think bishop h3 was a possibility for black. And the reason why is if you take on h3, I take with my knight, and exactly f2 is a problem.
Interesting.
And if you take on g5 after bishop,
You take g2 first.
You take g2 first, or just say f takes g5 and hit the knight on h4. So I actually think bishop h3 was a very interesting move to trade some pieces off, maybe weaken the white king.
Okay, he doesn't go for it. Levon switching sides to the queen side. This is not how I envisioned this game going.
Levon just shook his head.
Yeah, I was going to say he probably should be at this point. I mean, I think knight h4 earlier trapping the queen was probably the way to call black's bluff.
So he obviously wants to break open the queen side for his rook on a1, but all of black's pieces are concentrated on like this f3 g4 dynamic here. So you do have to be very careful if you're Levon. But if there's no concrete threat, because so f3 is hit 4 times by black, but it's also protected 4 times by white. I mean, this is ridiculous, the concentration on that side of the board.
And okay, white is going to have a full board control, but the problem is, given how black's pieces have coordinated so well on the king side, that this is just not from a practical point of view what Levon wanted. To answer Quinn's question from the Twitch chat, not only is Chess.com covering the Isle of Man, it is our event. I'm not sure that the memo has been gotten that it is called the FIDE Chess.com Grand Swiss. Chess.com has fully partnered and sponsored the event with FIDE. So anywhere you see that event, it is officially the FIDE Chess.com Grand Swiss. So huge memo that needs to be known there if that's a question, that indeed we will be the official coverage of the event on site, and it is our event. So there you go. Tune in. No more reasons to follow, and you'll be watching it right here at Twitch TV/chess. So, all right, knight comes to f3.
Well, there's some sacrifices for both sides here, and he went bishop f4 because his knight on f3 is hanging. I thought he was going to try bishop takes f6.
But now there's knight takes h4 even.
Yeah, he'll just take back and drop.
He does it. Oh wow.
But the thing is, white is up a piece, right? For how many pawns? It's going to be 3 pawns, which in this particular position gives black good compensation because of the weak white king.
Wow, he goes all in. He's saying that I can laugh in the face of danger of the discovered check here, and this might have been the way to do it.
Yeah, that looks good.
So originally, I admit that I suggested knight h4 with the thought that knight f3 and queen h2 would be an attack. But you look at it, and actually, now bishop d5 comes with check.
Yep.
No way he wanted this. He's down 2 pieces now. He just resigns. Yeah. That was a complete turnaround.
Yeah, I think
that fell apart quickly. Let's bring up the analysis board and see how that one ended, because that was not the storyline we expected. What happened in this position right here? It feels like the sacrifice was unnecessary, perhaps.
Well, I think all of his pieces are tied up with each other, right? So when he put in knight on f3, as mentioned before, there are a lot of white pieces attacking that square, so he removed one of the guards.
Right.
And if you take on on g5 back with the pawn instead of taking on e4, that move probably lost the game on the spot. It turns out. But if you took on g5, say with the pawn, what was he going to do?
Something like this, you're still in the game.
Yeah, very much in the game.
Black would have been okay, and maybe still with some pressure. I don't think it's clear who wins this game at this point. Remember, Alireza was down on the clock as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair to say that Levon doesn't go on to win that game. But okay, I mean, that was not how we thought it would finish. Levon Aronian doing what he has been predicted to do by our smarter chess predictions. Let's remind everybody who may just be tuning in who these players are while we have a second. Levon Aronian and Alireza Firouzja are 2 competitors. There you go, the young man from Iran, rising superstar, 16 years old. 16 years of age, as he would like to say to sound more mature. He is. I am 16 years of age.
He doesn't need to sound more mature. He's like in the future right now.
Yeah. No, he's playing chess like a beast. He does have a lot of room to grow, I guess, on the chessboard because he wants to get in that 2800 realm. But definitely much a wiser chess player than I. I'll say that. So let's talk about who Levon Aronian is. Number 1 in Armenia, number 1 in your hearts. Ponchik the dog is actually number 1 in my heart. His dog made an appearance earlier before we were live. Maybe Ponchik will come back.
I hope so.
The fans will get to see him. That's a cutie dog. Anyway, these are the two guys you're watching. Thanks for being with us. This is the 2019 Speed Chess Championship. We've got about 4,000 of you. And let's remind you of the next matchup, because right after this is a doubleheader. If you happen to be randomly tuning in, you are in for a treat. We have a long show today. Right after this, Robert can't stop talking about this matchup. I was almost going to question, like, why, what is going on with you? But
it's an amazing matchup because I think everyone loves Sasha Grishuk. Can't wait for the post-match interview, right? Nobody can wait.
Nobody can wait. Yeah.
But Artemiev, I think he's a little under the radar, despite just skyrocketing into the 2750 terrain. He just isn't very well known to many people. But as Grishuk himself said, this might be he's the Chuck Norris of Russia and probably one of the superstars for years to come.
Chuck Norris of Russia. I love that. And while we're talking about events coming up, let's remind you that right after that we have the Fisher Random World Chess Championship quarterfinals opening ceremony today. We will decide who plays who. You could have guys like Hikaru Nakamura facing off against Jan Nepomniachtchi in the first round. Who knows,
awesome.
Right? Two of the favorites maybe to win the whole thing. It's going to be a random draw. We are excited about it. We'll find out who plays who, what their colors are to start, and really set the tone for the weekend here. So, all right, back to the game here. Aronian with a 2-1 lead in the 5-minute portion. This game currently looking also decent for Black. I guess not necessarily special for either side, but
Levon just wants to roll up his sleeves. He's getting ready for this endgame.
Getting ready for the endgame?
Yeah, because if you look at this, the pawn on a5 is a true weakness. So if we do take on c4 here, the knight takes on c4, the rook is tied down to the a file, which is very frustrating because if you look at white's rooks on d1 and e1, at some point white will try to push e5 or put a rook on d5 to attack the a5 pawn. You have many options there for white where black doesn't have the kind of active play that you need. So that actually is looking a bit problematic. So, but if you don't trade the queens, white's plan still seems easy. You put a knight on d5 and you just push forward here. And not only is the a5 pawn weak, but if the queens are on the board, the black king side would be weak. So that's why Levon goes for this.
He puts the knight on c5, which is one way to defend a5 in a weird way, right? Bringing the knight all the way to a passive square. But Alireza taking advantage of the time lost by black to over-defend this weak pawn, to just open the center and look for some counterplay.
Well, he's sacrificing a pawn here, right? So e takes d6 will win a pawn. But the thing is, after knight takes d6, I think I want to trade the knights off. And then rook takes d6, then rook f to c8, and you have this backward pawn, which is not good news if you're trying to win an endgame. However, you are up a pawn, and you can play this. You can go rook e2 after that end of that line, then bring your king. Run that king to d1, get that pawn some defense, and then start trying to trade a pair of rooks. And you should be able to press in that endgame and probably win it.
Yeah, it would be a little tricky. I mean, black has rook c5 and maybe double rooks, try to get some pieces off. But okay, no, it would definitely be a two-result position for white, and I guess we're going to find out how many winning chances there really are, because we're getting that exact line you predicted. Look at you. You went full Bobby Hess prediction shoes there.
I didn't eat my Wheaties, but you did make me breakfast.
Yogurt parfait. I
great.
cut up the bananas myself.
It was great. The texture was great. You did a good job.
Nice balance.
Yeah.
Raspberries, you got the tart, bananas, potassium.
Here comes that king, though.
Yeah, you called it. Okay, well.
And then the next couple moves, once he needs to make sure that he doesn't hang any pawns, but you want to double your rooks on a file and then put one on the 5th rank, and then try to trade off a rook there. So don't be surprised if Levon puts that rook on c8 on c5, which prevents a trade and overprotects the a5 pawn. There it is.
Here it is.
Because that's the one target that white is trying to take advantage of, but with both rooks on the 5th rank, it's going to have a very hard time getting there. So don't be surprised now if Firouzja goes rook d3. Oh, well, now it's...
Okay, rook f3 tries to stop it, but you might still see rook d3. I don't know. I think your prediction may still be accurate, because just getting the pass pawn, breaking the structure could be good for white, right? Because right now everything is held by this backward c2 pawn being held back by the b4 pawn. So the pass pawn is going to be key, as you can see in any endgame. The opportunity to get a new queen is honestly usually the most deciding factor in close to equal endgames. Um, okay, so
Here comes.
black is going to try to trade f2 for a5. Both sides might get pass pawns here.
Oh, but there's a big tactical problem for white here. Is if you go rook d8 to d5,
Ooh,
he's
wait.
so he's
Okay,
giving up the f2 pawn
for-
immediately, so he can get to d5 exactly.
But there's some calculation to be had here to the bat cave.
Here we go.
Because
Well, you
okay,
take on
wait,
f2
you,
first.
you've got to trade, right? Yeah, sorry. I meant that move order, and one of the things to calculate is
His little rook f5 sees,
king and pawn endgame,
yeah, but then c3 or c4.
right?
Those double pawns won't do you any favors there.
Okay, yeah. So too slow there.
Was
But
that your nickname in high school too?
Too slow Dan. Too slow Dan. That was it. You called it. But even this is interesting, right? Because now black has two passed pawns.
But white's pawn is more advanced, so rook b5 there, and then try to push the a pawn. Feels like white should be better, but I agree with you that it seems unnecessary.
This is going to be much more of a full race. Okay, Levon trying to prepare for that, doesn't even take the bait yet. But if he gets the king in a more active spot, ideas of going for that kind of line are going to be more relevant.
Yep, so he's attacking the pawn. Makes sense. If you go f4 here, then the rook just goes back to f5, and then king h5, king g4, and in comes the king. And the rook is tied down to the defense of this g3 pawn, which is not something you really want, of course, as white. You want to be more active.
Yeah, I like it. Put the rook on f5. You're threatening both. Ooh, rook h5. Why?
Why? Yeah, why that?
Why?
Why? I have no idea. I wish I could answer. He wants to meet some kind of like c3 with rook h2 check, perhaps?
Or c4.
Yeah. So is he just trying to get... I don't know if that really pans
But
out.
it so clearly took away the king's path.
Right.
Right? It's really hard to get excited about that move.
Yeah, I'm still a little befuddled here. I mean, it just felt like the king needed to go to g4 for active play. And now for c4, that's a passed pawn. He just brings king back.
Wow. But here comes... No, rook d5 wouldn't work. I assume the trade and the black king can corral the pawn in time.
But then white's king is pretty close there.
Yeah, rook d5. Chop, chop.
King c2, king d3, and that's a...
Unless there's some sort of...
It's king c4
No,
there.
no,
Yeah.
it's easily winning. Yeah, the king will have to back up, and the white king gets in.
So he wouldn't have traded. I guess his point was, he's going to go rook h2 check and try to go rook g2, and now he'll go rook h3.
Okay, he'll play a little tickle here, but it's going to be a race. c5 takes rook d3 to stop rook c3.
Mm-hmm.
The rook will give check. The king will move. Okay. Alireza doesn't want the race.
Yeah, he said, look at me. I'll go passive for now.
Yeah, passive, because even if this king gets all the way in front, the white king will dominate that battle. Yeah, and despite the time advantage on the clock, I don't think that's going to save Levon's endgame here. He's up 15 seconds for the time being, but this looks like a pretty good endgame technique so far by the youngster.
Yeah, the only good news that Levon has here is that the pawn on b3 is a backward pawn, so that the king starts running, for example, king d3 in this position.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately go rook b1 and force your king right back to c2 to protect that pawn.
Oh, and we're going to find out. Alireza might be prepared to sacrifice the
c5.
the b pawn. c5, rook takes, and run the king up.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I love it.
There it is. Wait, okay, I was going to say, could he try to change the move order? He couldn't.
Yep.
And so rook c3 check feels...
Rook c3, king b5, b3. There is threats of rook c2 there. So
Yeah.
that if you have to play rook b2...
And then the king comes to f6. This
right?
actually is not...
This is not going to be so clear at all. I mean, I think from a practical perspective, pushing the envelope there with the king makes sense. You often want activity in rook endgames versus passive defense, but the concrete calculation of that may mean that it wasn't as good as we thought.
Yeah, this rook c2 idea is brilliant, because c6 would be the move you want to play here.
Yep.
But rook
But
c2 comes
and that
just
might
in
be
time.
what he missed, right? And that's a key thing, that rook c2 was a threat, because now the king gets in time.
So he'll take on a5, I think.
But
King-
then rook takes c5
and then
with
king
check.
b4. So he'll...
Oh,
Okay,
okay, here comes king e6.
yeah, I really would have taken that pawn on a5, so I would have had an outside pass pawn in the rook endgame.
I wondered if king e7 was slightly more accurate, actually, to actually avoid what's going to happen here. Because then king d8 check, you could have gone here.
But then rook h2 probably is a problem.
Rook h2, and I'm still too slow. Okay, so it didn't matter. I was worried about this scenario where the king goes here, and the white king, everyone, is sort of shouldering the black king with opposition, which allows a check,
Yep.
and the king just has to go away. So that it may still be a winning endgame for white. I wanted to bring the king in front, but as Robert pointed out, getting yourself in a mating net is less than ideal. Don't get yourself into mating net Dan.
Also,
Nick also a nickname in high school. So.
wow, he snags the A-pawn. Just says, I'll bring
But
my
now
king right back to B6.
King D6.
And then king right back to B6, and then I'll push the A-pawn.
Too many pass pawns for white here. Yeah, G5 is just what the doctor ordered, but I don't think it's going to save the game. He'll get here with check, but the king will come to B6.
Yep.
And it's not going to matter. White's pawns are just way too fast.
Yeah, here I think you could probably even go rook E2 check. And
Just
then
A5, yeah.
Yeah, A5 is...
Yeah, he plays A5, I think. Now move the king, and there's just too much. Rook A4, king B5 with tempo. Ouch. Right?
Is it Ouchtown?
Ouchtown.
Population U?
I wasn't going to go there, but clearly I've made influence on you, my son.
You made some very negative influence on me, clearly.
Just like my real kids. So.
No, that's... What? Don't do that.
Rook A2. Rook A2.
Oh, just C7. Just let me get a new queen. Yeah, this is over.
It was pretty funny last night when you were leaving and you were like, good night, and like throughout the whole house.
Yeah.
Good night, Robert. Good night, Robert. Good night, Robert. It was like an echo, a chorus.
It was lovely.
All right, game over. Tie match.
2-2.
We have a match today. Alireza takes a sip. Is that a Chess.com mug, or is he just happy to see me? Look at that.
Yeah,
That's branding right there.
Look at that.
Shout out to Nick for sending that across the seas.
Did he also send him the... What is... I'm just trying to fit... It's almost like one of those old switchboards, like, behind him.
Yeah, no, I expect him to turn around and start Minority Reporting this. Like, just like pulling... He's like Tony Starking it. Time travel is possible. Like,
I've been trying to figure that out, honestly. I have no...
he's got?
We have to ask him.
It also could be like a tool shed. I have one of those in my garage where you hang... It looks like one of those, like, pin boards where you got, like, hammers and things hung, and you hang your rake on it. It's a very useful piece of plyboard. Anyway, shout out to the emotes. They're useful right now. Sepher91, flashing the subscription there. We appreciate your support. All the premium members hanging out in Chess TV chat. Bone Broth is here.
HT1992 says just a window shade. Is that what?
I don't think that's a window shade.
But I feel like that user's giving...
Levon Aronian goes right from playing chess with us to being interrogated in a room, and the light blinds him. And where were you? Knight A4. Okay, so we're back to the English. This is Levon Aronian's kind of go-to weapon here in the English. I'm expecting him to continue to try move orders that maybe throw off the youngster, because even despite how strong Alireza is, you and I both know, like, experience in move orders is something that can take a really long time, right? It's how sometimes players have weaknesses exposed where they don't really lack knowledge, but they can get put in a position where they're just not comfortable.
Right.
And so I like the English from a practical perspective for Levon to continue to try to poke at Alireza's repertoire and see where he can get an advantage.
And it also creates weak squares. In this one, you see the bishop on c5, but the bishop's on c5 so the knight can go there later. That's the real purpose.
Get rid of this guy is your main goal.
Yeah, and you might say, well, the bishop on e7 is not doing anything, but it does defend that square, and if the knight went there, you can capture it at any moment. So look at Levon build up the tension here. When you say tension, no pieces are really attacking each other beside the bishop.
Yep.
But look for rook f to d1, maybe pawn to d4. Perhaps pawn to e4 for white as well, and then pawn to d4. So white has various options here, and black is quite limited because there's not much space for Alireza to use for his pieces.
Well, and you talk about tension, the fact that this b pawn can't really move safely because the c6 square becomes vulnerable. So again, this is a position where, like, okay, you called the move. There's a lot of tension because despite the pieces optically looking well placed, it's very difficult for black here to deal with the coming ways that white can push the knights around. Okay, this is a nice move, and in a lot of positions, you might even just be willing to part with the bishop here if it means your knight gets access to this square. Very common in this structure. Just to highlight that, some random thing just to show that, okay, if this happens without other tactical consequences, in some cases this transition can favor black. Here I don't think that would work because white has perfectly prepared himself to do things like win a pawn on c7.
Yep.
But bishop h5 has purpose. It also spies both the rook on d1 and the pawn on e2.
And that goes to show that, maybe black also wants to get rid of this bishop on c5 because then the d4 square. And Levon has no fear. He says, all right, I'm going to break open the center because Robert mentioned it earlier. And you know how Levon loves me. He'll never admit it, but...
Yeah, he loves it.
But it makes a lot of sense. There's a rook on d1, a queen on d8, and whenever that's the case, rook staring down at a queen, you really want to open the file.
Yep.
So what can black do here? You don't want to take on d4, that's for sure. That is a.
If you take on d4, we take with the knight, and you would
gosh.
assume if the position becomes open that white is going to win materially here. And I know what they say when you assume, but this time I'll go for it. No good for black to open things up. Okay, he takes, but there has to be some concrete follow-up here because that's not a move you want to play. There's an immediate threat now, e4, winning the knight with the pin.
Yep. And if e4 didn't suffice, you can just move your knight away. So you can put his knight on d4, but queen c4 here. And this is a big problem because if you take on f3, I just take back with my pawn. You're still pinned. And if you go c6 to protect, but then you can take on b6.
Ooh, with tempo.
So instead of knight b6, you would go knight c3.
Okay, yeah, knight c3 would do the job of winning the pawn.
Right. So he went c6 first.
Bishop g2, though, you save the bishop pair if you're Levon. Now you can even play e4 and e3 kick one knight, e4 kick another knight, pop a knight into b6.
Just take on d5, go up a pawn.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I'm into pawns.
Good.
Good? What is that like? I'm glad you're into pawns, Dan. Like, anything else you're into? You want to talk about that weird...
I didn't know how to answer that, so I just said good.
He's real into pawns, Dan. High school nickname.
How many nicknames did you have?
I went to a weird high school. Twickenham, 2014, after I shouted out Bone Broth. Platinum member Twickenham's like, I'm here too. Hey, buddy.
No, this is just an extra pawn for Levon here. And he's got the control of the d file.
3-on-2 that's already advanced. This isn't your normal 3-on-2 where we're talking about the long-term potential of a majority.
Yep.
This is like knight b6 and b4 away from a passed pawn here, right? I mean, this is not going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and black's attempt at counterplay will have to be involving the light squares on the king side with queen h5, knight g5, but it seems very, very slow.
Well, we know the chatters are here for an opportunity to get a shout-out, but the players are here for the prizes. Let's remind everybody what they're playing for, something we didn't get into in the opening ceremony. This is our second-to-last matchup in the first round of play. As we said, today is a doubleheader, so right after this we have Artemia versus Grishuk. But 16K on the line for just 16 players in these first rounds, and then we got 8 players competing for 12K, 4 players competing for 12K. That's a money round. And then 2 players for $10,000. Pretty fun stuff, and that's what's at stake here for the Speed Chess Championship. So,
pretty nice.
Yeah.
With that kind of money, I think Levon can get a new light in the
You might
kitchen.
want to.
I mean, he's blinding me.
Yeah, I know. Like that's why I'm not looking at him. I don't look directly at him, right? We've got the attack, as you said, started with queen h5, which wanted knight g5 to follow. Levon tried to proactively defend this with a move like h4. I wonder if he got it. Like, was it necessary, right? He's going to get the queens off the board, or he wants to get the queens off the board because then he gets to focus again on his extra pawn on the queen side.
Mm-hmm.
But what if Alireza plays a move like queen f3, right? Just keep the tension. I'm wondering if maybe Levon made his life a little harder by opening the king side.
Yeah, it does look a little risky.
As I say it, though, the queen here, the 7th rank that belongs to white.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Firouzja would buy some new sunglasses with the prize money. Is it because of Levon's bright light?
Is that a comment from chat?
No, that was what Firouzja said before the match.
When
he asked,
I missed the stat. Okay, amazing. Yeah, he would buy some new sunglasses. You know how the kids feel about their Oakley Ray-Bans these days. You know, those kids are...
You turned into a dog.
You know those kids are dooby-dooby-dooby. Get off my lawn. Those kids looking for sunglasses.
You went from Dad Dan to Grandpa Dan real fast.
You know? All right, the queen comes to f5. The reason it didn't go to f3, everyone, is because it wants the g5 square for the knight to go here.
Yep.
So a little bit more accurate. But if you're just getting here, almost 4,500 of you, clearly we have a very good match. It is a 2-2 score, as you can see, and I think we're in for a thriller today.
Yeah, it's interesting in this moment how white should make progress. I'm thinking at some moment to play c6 to get my second rook on c6 and attack the f6 pawn. But I think king g2 is a very smart move. Knight f4 check would scare me because the g pawn is pinned, but then I go king f3.
Is he going to do it? Do it. Bring the king out.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
It might actually welcome f5.
Okay, so he says, I don't want to do it. But even this is fine, because you kind of gain a tempo by getting to h2, because if we back a couple moves, everyone, you're not thrilled about the king being on the g file at the queen, but by inducing the knight to come in and then going to h2, look what happened. Black just had to bring the knight right back to e6, right? So you kind of gained a tempo. Now maybe Robert's idea of c6 as possible. I guess the main worry is, okay, he plays rook c3 because of it. The main worry is this idea we continue to highlight that the knight will come to g5. Um,
Yeah, I see actually a very good comment in the chat. Um, Don't Cry Wolf said not knight f4 right away, save it as a threat. I agree with that. Knight f4 might have been a bit rushed
yeah,
because it allowed Levon to regroup, put his rook on c3, and it's
yeah.
become very difficult for black to get an attack here because if I go g4 at some point for white, I stop because he went queen g8 so he can go try to go f5 at some moment. But g4 here says, nope, you're not getting
Knight
any
d5.
of
I like it. And here comes f6 as a target, which undermines protection of the knight. So yeah, knight f4 was definitely a little rushed. I just love how dominant the knight is on d5, right? That move feels like, if we're talking the emotionalness of the move, right? It feels like it just took the wind out of black sails there. Emotionalness is a word.
that. Okay, I wasn't questioning you.
Okay.
I trust your vocab.
Rook to d8. Now there's rook takes f6, but it allows rook d2, so maybe unnecessary. The real problem with rook d8, if you're Alireza, is what are you going to do, big guy? Sit on me? You're going to take d6 and give me a pass pawn?
Yeah, that's
So
not
there's
fun.
no real threat here, right?
So then, what should white do?
b4 maybe? I don't know.
Well, I don't. The reason I don't play b4, or at least I'm not sure about it, is if that knight moves away from d5, that gives me the a2 square for my queen.
What about this idea?
I'll probably still go queen a2 as like a let me go attack you by hitting your b2 pawn.
You're going to let me get knight g6 check, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm a good friend.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that worked, but okay, you got away with it. Here comes f6, though. Levon going to do this thing the clean way with limited counterplay for black. Maybe even king g2 if he wants to just really... nah. g4, king g3, push forward.
Queen takes f6 now. Oh, he's trying to go rook f8 and then win the f3 pawn, but that still is winning for white.
The second time around brings the king to g2. Maybe he should have played that move first. One of the reasons I wanted the king on g2 was just to overprotect f3, but now he's lost his chance. White's still in great shape, but
c6.
c6. Only 5 seconds for Firouzja.
I've been waiting for c6 for so long. No.
How long?
Too long. Queen a2. Counterplay. That actually,
I don't know that it's really counterplay. Look at what you did to yourself.
Don't judge.
Knight f5.
All right. So, but the thing is, my knight will go to f4, and I agree with you. That does look very, very promising here for white. But at least I have something to.
Rook c1. Ooh, queen takes c1 to knight d3.
Don't blunder.
Don't blunder, Dan.
That wasn't a nickname. It was just a suggestion.
Just a common description.
Oh, actually, he could have taken on c6 there instead of.
Wow,
playing
did
knight to
Aronian
check.
give unnecessary counterplay? Only once, 0.3, 0.8. About to lose on time. You have knight g2 just to block everything.
You can't take this knight on h3 because you mated. So it was queen g2. And still can't.
King h2,
Wait.
what?
Knight f5
Knight f5 check guards h6.
But he's still.
Just in time.
Oh!
He's sacrificing the queen with rook c7. And rook e7 was mate. He missed it.
And that's a check. Queen
He has
e8.
queen g8. I think he missed rook c7 intermezzo.
He did.
Queen takes h7 should still be good for white.
Look at you.
Queen f. But dude, he missed that. That was sick, mate. Rook. Okay, he still gets the win, but we'll back this thing up like Juvenile and shake what our mama gave us. In this case, was an analysis board. Look at this check here. He missed. Rook. I think in this position here, rook c7 first is killer. The king either has to go to the 8th rank or e6, and rook e7 was mate.
Yep.
He missed it. Okay, he still got the win. But that would have been the fancy schmancy way to finish things off, right?
And it's
faux show.
And it's funny because I wonder if Levon realizes he missed that because even though he won the game,
yeah.
It's something that these top players get really upset about.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah.
They put on that face, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes they make the Nakamura Hoey Fawn face like, right? Did I miss that?
Yeah, you did.
I don't even know if many people on Twitch know that that's where the emote comes from. Do we have that emote?
Well, right, I have no idea about the emote, but I do know that Firouzja right now is just trying to break open the queen side. And
yeah, this one here. Naka h3. Oh, wait, no. Anyway.
Naka h3. What a moment. And, well, speaking of h3,
yeah.
we just played, trying to say, if you take me on f3, we have opposite color bishops, but my bishop on the light squares will be better than yours in the dark squares. Because, in particular, there's a target on the f7 square that if you don't have a light square bishop, I can just keep mine on that diagonal and amp up the pressure there. So, okay, rook a7 comes to mind here for Alireza, just stopping any bishop b7 nonsense. Rook b6 here for
But then the
Levon.
bishop stays on that diagonal, as you said.
I'm happy for it to be there.
Yeah.
So bishop e6 at the right moment is
Make the trade. Ooh, rook a6. I like that move even better. Get that rook off the 7th rank. One of the issues with bishop e6 was maybe a trade and a sack of the e-pawn, little positional
yeah.
tactic.
Look at you go.
Right?
And it just goes to show that how the knight can dominate a bishop.
Yeah. We'll back up real quick and show that on the analysis board. But I think one of the issues was that if this trade happens, this is a good tactic to keep in mind. You sack and then you fill a light square, and this bishop is no good, combined with the rook on the 7th rank. So I think that's what Levon was worried about. But this is a better approach anyway, especially if the position starts to become open. Is he gonna meet takes with c5?
Yeah, he will. Look at you. You're all about those pawn sacks. Usually I'm the one sacrificing.
Take off your shirt. The crowd goes crazy.
You're in the wrong show. I think you didn't get the memo.
Santo023 says, my wife's been wondering why I've been watching more chess.
Is there follow-up?
I think that was it. Just, hey, that was
Okay.
it. There you go. Pefimoso, platinum member in the Chess TV chat, throwing out gifted premium memberships like they're candy. We love that guy.
Halloween's not to the end of the month.
What?
Sorry.
Halloween's at the end of the month. Dad fail. Dad fail.
It's okay. Forgive you. You'll go trick-or-treating. It'll be a great time. C5.
I actually won't. I'm going to be in Oslo, Norway. The kids are already mad. We were going to do a family kind of thing, and I'm
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up a sore
sorry. I
subject.
think I'm going to dress up in costume on the show on October 31st.
Way to ruin the
in
surprise.
Oslo. What?
Way to ruin the surprise.
You don't know what I'm going to wear.
You're just going to dress up as Magnus? Okay, the white is just dominating, by the
Yeah,
way.
this is a c6 square that's happy to see me. What happened here? Let's back this thing up. My idea of taking in c5 was played because the whole point is c4 shuts off the bishop's protection and maybe opens up for the bishop pair, but white gets in with tempo, another tempo because of c6. The knight lands on c6. But okay, is it really domination yet? I mean, this was a sacrifice he played on purpose, and at some point c4 is coming. This is the idea.
Yeah, it just feels like, shouldn't be good enough because just rook e1. And even if you get c4 in, I'm not sure how powerful it'll be. Queen a5 makes a lot of sense too. To go rook a1, queen to b6, you're slithering into.
Slither in?
Nope.
Okay. No. Okay.
You went full Draco on me.
Oh.
You're more of Crab and Goyle.
Definitely more of a crab. All right, queen a5.
This is a problem for black.
I like that move though. Get out of my house.
Yep, queen a3.
Queen
probably.
a3.
Just keep poking. Maybe
Just
c4
keep
then
poking.
after queen a3.
Yeah. No, but you're right. The more I look at it, it feels like the idea Levon was going for, well, nice in theory, just the accuracy. Really the key thing was that knight g4 came with tempo here. The
Yep.
tempo here to e5 with tempo. Because without that move, you were looking at a position where the knight is out of play and c4 was happening, right? But changed everything. It looks like Alireza's in pretty good shape once again, by the way, to level the score of the match. I mean, this is going to be a great one.
Yeah,
This is going to be good and exciting stuff here.
we're already off to a great start, and Levon lost the first game. He totally had an oversight, and since then they've been very back and forth. We've had no draws, right?
No draws.
Did they get the memo that
I
wasn't
don't know.
allowed? It
That's
seems like they
awesome.
didn't. Yeah.
No draws today. You're right. I haven't even realized that.
So queen a5 back. You couldn't take on a6 because there's back rank checkmates. The bishop on d6 covers the escape square on h2, so that's why taking this bishop on a6 was not possible last move.
Sorry. Batcave. Messed up. Queen a5. Queen takes a6. Rook e1. Actually, just take first, right?
Yeah.
If you want checkmate. I don't know what's better, checkmate or a queen these days.
Checkmate.
Okay. Some things haven't changed. So h4 played, and Levon is setting up kind of a long-term net over here, right?
It might be pretty short term if you allow queen f5 to f4.
Oh, wow.
I might just sacrifice my bishop and say, who cares about the bishop?
Suddenly the attack being created, so much so that Alireza, but here comes b4, by the way. Cutting off the queen, and if you trade, take a6, I mate you. Oh, no, there's queen f1. No, but then there's bishop h2. Show the whole thing. b4, takes, check. There's no queen f1. I forgot there was a d3 pawn. It's just mate.
I was like, wait, queen f1,
Ooh,
but
wow, c4.
well, the point is still your queen can't take on a6
Yeah,
in any of these variations.
yeah.
So he'll just take on c4. Oh, but take on c4, pawn takes c4, and then black's gonna go c3 to cut off the circulation of the queen in the e1 square. That's not gonna be fun.
b4 does the same thing. Look at it. Yeah, this is one of those positions that Levon Aronian kind of developed a name for himself as a swindler, right? Kind of at some point even joked himself being a coffee house trickster, right? No, but his ability to just sense, right, where there was an opportunity from a practical perspective. White was dominating this game, control over the queen side, a knight on c6, the queen on a5. Look at him, takes off the red jacket, just kind of settling in, right?
Looks like he's
Net
gonna mate
pop.
him. He's gonna mate him.
He's just gonna mate him.
And
Levon has just completely turned this game around.
is the only way to stop it by rook takes e8, like queen d8 to trade off the queens? But that
I was going to
looks-
say you have to keep the rooks on the board.
yeah, but that's sad.
Yeah, because black would just start opening. Oh, he takes and
Wait,
plays
what?
king f1.
C
But
takes
here,
d3?
he takes d3, and if queen takes a6, queen e2 check, and queen e1 is mate.
Yep.
He doesn't. I think Alireza
Oh,
missed
you
that.
see,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think he missed that exact idea. He shakes his head because he played this thinking takes, I get to take here, and there's no discovered check. But the point, obviously, is that takes queen e2 is mate. Real quick, we'll show it on the analysis board as they start the next one.
But it's interesting because that wasn't even the only way to win that in that position. So
Yeah,
just an
I mean,
oversight. You know, when opponent's piece is under attack, somebody's like they need to move it or protect it. You
Right.
just totally forget that they don't have to. Right? The rules of chess
Right.
don't state
right.
piece under attack. You gotta move.
It's the human nature, right? And
Yep.
it's one of the emotional things that affect our approach and the moves we consider in calculations. The computers have completely, I think they've improved top level chess where the best players in the world are better than ever at just remembering those sort of, little mini pro tips.
Yep.
But in a practical situation, not so much time on the clock, difficult. And Levon Aronian takes a 2-game lead in Blitz. Let's remind everybody what our smarter chess predictions were if we can. What did we think was going to happen here in the 5-1 portion? Those are our power rankings for the 5-1. That's what they were coming in. Do we have our smarter chess predictions? There we go. 5-1 score, 6.5, 3.5. So 5.5, 3.5. So we're right on pace. A 2-game lead for Levon Aronian right now in the 5+1 portion.
Yeah, and I saw that in the chat. T said important win for Levon. I agree. That was
Yeah.
a really essential win there.
Yep.
And I see Smarter Chess saying, "Did Smarter Chess say +2?" Referring to yourself in the third person is not cool. Smarter Chess.
Only the Rock can get away with it. The Rock is everyone's favorite narcissist. Everyone else, you can't just refer to yourself like that. Or unless you're self-deprecating with made-up nicknames in high school. Made-up nicknames in high school, Dan.
Oh my! It is amazing how quickly you can give yourself a new nickname.
Hey.
But we have this this structure here that is Benoni-like.
Benoni-ish.
Yeah, and the bishops are being traded on the dark squares, which typically should be pretty good for white.
Mm-hmm.
That relieves some of the tension on the d6 square, perhaps, but at the same time, usually the best piece is the dark square bishop.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get that off the board, my it's just whole structure feels much safer. And the problem for black is you want to play c4 to put your knight on c5, but bring your piece away from the king side when you don't have a dark square
Right.
bishop is problematic.
And that's what white's trying to do here, f4. I mean, you highlighted a good point that d6 is kind of the crux of black structure, right? And often with the dark square bishop, that's something you poke at. But getting rid of the dark square bishop as it opens the king kind of gives you full justification to just blow things open. He plays d6. The problem is he's not actually threatening to take. Oh, he is. Gets a new queen on
How
b8.
many times has he done that today?
How many times has he done that today? It's crazy.
He has no problem giving up material to get a new queen.
Yeah. No, it's actually been 3 games. Crazy
So
stuff.
how about rook b6 then?
Rook b6 is like a really good move, and the point, everyone, is that now on takes you can trade because where'd my rook go? It's gone. Can't take it. Okay, so that
Speaking of where things go, where did the red jacket go?
he took it off. I told you last game.
I missed it.
He kind of threw it off Michael Jackson style too. He just like threw it off.
So I guess rook b6 is meant by rook a to d1, protecting both the d6 pawn and the queen on d2,
Yeah, I like it.
and renewing the threat on that knight on c7. I don't know. Yeah, he goes. So maybe he'll go b4 after rook to d1.
I like it though. He found rook to b6.
So it's one of these positions where, because white has sacrificed a pawn, if you can get an attack going very quickly or gain up very important space, you're doing well, but there are some issues here.
Yeah. I think you want to take e5 first because opening up the f-file is likely better tactical possibilities, regardless of whether you have something immediate.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
So I'm anticipating Levon will take e5 using the time advantage he's earned on the clock, which, again, hasn't been a storyline we've talked a lot about since the beginning, given Alireza's reputation as the much faster player. But if we're talking about what the tempo has been in the 5-minute portion overall, Levon Aronian has definitely been up on the clock more often than not.
It's true. And can he take on f4 here, perhaps?
Takes on f4.
I just want to gain a tempo. So if you take back on f4, get knight e6 with the gain of a move.
Okay.
He doesn't go for it though.
Instead, he plays b4. It feels like he has a decent feel for the position anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's gaining time trying to kick the pieces around before he corrals the pawn.
Because he's also giving himself the d5 square. Where
Yeah.
if you just move your knight somewhere silly, then I'll put knight in d5 and he take.
So now Levon takes.
Wait, is there b takes c3 here, by any chance?
Wow, that would be crazy. Are you going
I don't
to take
think it
back on
works.
f6 with the queen? That
Yes,
seems
that's
a
what I
little
was.
too,
That's what I
too
was gonna
much.
do.
Takes, shake and bake.
Because the queen on d2 is also hanging.
Yeah, this would be.
Wait, but it's too much to calculate.
Yeah, it almost works. He just takes back on e5, and Alireza is trying to just defend things in a simple way. Maybe rook e. Oh no, but now the pawn's unpinned.
Oh,
Wait, did he just miss that?
so now the knight's hanging.
Yeah, now the knight and the rook are hanging.
That is a problem.
That's a huge problem.
So how can he sacrifice the rook? No,
Is he taking e2?
That doesn't look pleasant.
Whoa. Takes on c3, queen e5. The exchange sacrifices on. But all of a sudden there's like weirdness with d6 coming. d7.
Yeah, but the
Queen e7's almost a move too, but don't.
you'll take and take on b2.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
so maybe white just takes back here. Time to corral that pawn before it's too late.
And is there no? Actually, rook takes f6 right now. What a crazy move! If you go rook takes f6.
Knight e4 though, maybe even better.
Can you go back just a second to see rook takes f6 because it looked like kind of everything was hanging.
Rook takes f6. By the way, if you take here, I move back with check.
Oh yeah, but then maybe f6.
Oh my God, maybe that was the idea. Whoa, and Levon finishes the job super quickly, and he's up 3 games in the match. They're gonna start the next one.
Wow, that was.
I'm gonna try to figure out what just happened here. So he doesn't take f6, which seems accurate.
Yeah, his move is probably better. What's going on?
Not sure what's going on here. Rook takes f6. One of the key points in that line, if we bring up the analysis board just to show how the last game finished, is that, again, if rook takes d1, rook f1, while a discovered check, f6 might have held everything. So instead, Levon just played the patient move, knight to e4, bringing in more attackers. And as the game finished, knight e4, rook d1, and f6 falls. And the main thing, I guess, is that if knight takes, you have rook d6.
Yep.
Right? And if queen takes, the knight falls.
Yep.
Looks good enough? Okay. That's my translation of why they resigned. And Levon Aronian has a 3-game lead. If we're keeping track at home, this is where it gets a little dicey, right? I mean, but if you were talking about the storyline sort of expected, Levon Aronian's the stronger player. Right now, there's no debate on that. From a chess objective perspective, anybody in chat wants to throw an opinion out there that says otherwise is just talking smack, right? Because Levon Aronian has been 2,800. Alireza is not in his league yet over the board, but blitz, bullet, time scrambles, that's what makes the Speed Chess Championship what it is. The 5-minute portion is going to be the best chance for the stronger player to sort of flex, right, and build their lead. And he might need it headed into bullet. So kind of heading along what you thought would happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, there's no debate. Levon is the higher-rated player. That is just fact. He's the stronger player, and he just is very well-versed. And something you said earlier is ringing true. I think it's the experience.
Right.
Because Levon has experience in many different positions. It's not just about the opening.
Right.
And even that position earlier when he went d5, sacrificed and went c5, which you had actually, you foresaw that, so that was a great find by you. But he realized that, okay, I may go down a pawn, but I will have very good compensation for
Right.
that pawn. And Levon isn't making the most of his chances.
Well, you know what else is interesting is even though we highlight Levon doesn't play as much online blitz and bullet as Alireza, in terms of the SCC, Levon is also the more experienced player,
Yep.
right? And one thing I think people forget is just how much the increment makes the Speed Chess Championship what we consider to be an elite chess event. I mean, the high quality chess that's played here. You and I talked with Peter Lako last year at the Isle of Man, who said he tunes into the SCC to see what kind of opening secrets they reveal, knowing that these guys are often showing some prep and really want to win this thing. So the point is, it's not the same as just the online time scrambles you see Naroditsky and Firouzja play, where they're
Yeah.
flagging each other ruthlessly.
Yeah.
The increment really brings out the high quality chess, and that's something that it will be good for Alireza, whether he wins or loses this match, right? To get that experience.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you ask Alireza, if you're going to lose this match, would you be okay with this? Like, yeah, I'm getting to play Levon Aronian for
Right.
hours on end.
Right.
And there's a lot to be learned from that experience. And right now, here's a good example of that. Levon has spent 15 seconds.
Alireza spent a minute and a half.
Yep. And we're in a position where white is up a pawn, but Levon said, I probably studied this before. I
Right.
feel okay that I'm going to hold this position, even if I may be slightly worse. I should feel
Right.
fine just making a draw. But what I will say is this kind of situation is very nice for Alireza. He's up a pawn, a clean pawn. There's no real risk in his position. He can just try to nurse this advantage and just create difficulties for Levon. That said, well, Levon is Levon, and it's going to be hard to beat him.
Yeah, and again, the fact that he's playing so quickly just suggests that he kind of feels confident Black is going to have enough compensation to hold here. A 3-game lead. Not going to be the worst result in the world if he does get a draw. Only 15 minutes left, though, in the 5-minute portion, and I think as the time controls get faster, Alireza maybe feels a little more confident. So we'll see. I think we're probably going to get about 2 more games in the 5-minute, had to guess, right? I think we'll get at least 1 more after this. B4 now, taking advantage of the pin.
Just play Rook B3. Kind of have to.
Right, Rook B3, we're going to get a trade, and, White's up a clean pawn, as you said. 2 on 1.
Actually, maybe you won't trade. You'll play C5 just to keep that pin alive. It is a bit annoying. And I wouldn't have taken on A5 like Alireza did, but perhaps he felt like he had to. But, yeah, if you go Rook B3, C5 coming, it just feels like you're a little stuck.
Let's look at that, actually. Oh, that's probably why he played Rook C4. But if the Rook to B3 had been played C5 and everything was pinned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Queen A8 comes next.
But that means with the move he played, he's giving back his pawn.
Yeah, this doesn't look
As
particularly good.
for Firouzja, for sure. And again, Levon knows this line very well. I think Queen D6 will be the move. Keeps an eye on C7.
I'm having a hard time understanding this. Like, if you go on the analysis board just back a couple moves, Danny.
Yep.
Like before B takes A5.
Here.
I mean, White's up a pawn.
Yeah.
And your rooks are awkwardly placed. I'll
Right,
admit
but,
that,
but
of course.
fix it. Play Rook B2.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to be played. And maybe there's some kind of Queen D4. But that doesn't do much. You can just go Queen D2. So I'm not really sure.
It's a little awkward,
A takes,
though. Right?
A takes B4. That's where it goes wrong.
Oh, A takes B4 and then the back rank. Duh.
Yeah. So maybe his
In fact, let's show how crazy this line could be. If takes
Queen takes B4.
Queen takes B4.
Yep.
So this is one of those positions where, again, we were talking about the practical aspects of these two players and giving Levon credit because credit was due. But this position, again, just showed how tricky it was for White. Despite being up a pawn, this was never going to be an easy problem to solve. Now Black has regained that pawn, and probably the A pawn is the most powerful passer on the board.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's very
super well played right now by Aronian.
And he's up. Look how much time he's up.
Yep.
Who would have thought that he'd be up 2.5 minutes against Alireza? But I think it also goes to show that Alireza has huge respect for Levon, which, of course, everyone should. But maybe some nerves as well.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe he needs to trust himself, pick up the speed a little bit. I think that's one thing that the 3-minute kind of brings out a little bit. So we'll see if he can find himself in the faster portion here. But right now, yeah, way down on the clock, and also down 3 games in the match.
Yeah, but now I guess he can take. If he trades queens off, feels like it's not going to be much of risk because you can take on D6, put your rook on C3, tie Black down to the A pawn, and then just say, okay, you'll put your rooks, double the rooks in the A file, and then what?
Right, equal.
We can just shuffle back and forth.
You might need to do that because if you give Levon one more chance to get tricky here and keep the queens on the board, maybe he goes for some sort of, okay, he does it, right? Don't let Levon create some sort of mating net out of nothing like we've already seen him do in this match a couple times.
So exactly what I was saying has happened, and well, where's that king on F1 going? Like, where's his end destination? You can bring it to A1, but okay, your rook on A2 is pretty awkward.
G5, G4, I like it as just kind of a long-term way to make sure everything on the king side is going to sit tight. Probably bring the king up first. If G4, you might allow rook B5. Yeah, so bring the king up to defend. Now maybe G4.
Yeah, and the good thing for black is at any moment when this rook on B3 attacks something, you can just bring your rook on the same rank. Right, so if rook B5, you can go rook A5. If rook B6, you can go rook A6.
Right, you defend everything by bringing the rook up. So he goes for G4 now as predicted, and I think, again, the result probably is going to be a peaceful one here, but the longer this game goes on, you look at now almost a 3, look at the time edge for Aronian, right? Really bringing the focus today, putting pressure on the youngster.
So if
this game continues to go, time scrambles change everything, right? Whether it objectively should be a draw or not.
D5. Okay, I thought he was going to try some kind of rook E8 check and then put the rook on E1. Trying to go after the H2 pawn. That's a really good thing about putting your pawn on G4.
Yeah.
Is you cement the pawn on H2 in its tracks. So if you can get your rook down to H1, you have a what? So you end up giving away.
He's giving up the A pawn to do it.
Yeah, it actually still looks pretty reasonable. He'll go rook E8 check. He'll
going to keep the rooks on the board. That was the key thing I was missing. Okay. Wow.
Now rook E1.
Rook E1. This is how you create winning chances, even if the position still should objectively be okay for white. With 30 seconds, I do not want to be playing this position.
Not at all.
We could see a 4-game lead here.
That would be.
This would be much more than Smarter Chess predicted. Take that.
Yeah, take that.
Take
that. Smarter.
Not so Smarter Chess.
You think that was his nickname in high school?
Smarter Chess? Could have been. Oh, man.
Well, okay, he'll put a pawn on F6.
Yep.
He'll keep everything defended. And white doesn't really have many moves. So rook E1.
Yep. Here comes the rook to E1, both threatening backdoor checks along with the H-pawn falling. This is just so tough. Look at him. He's flexing those, the Armenian school of chess, knowing there are chances there. How many times has he sacrificed a pawn and had long-term compensation that drove Alireza crazy today?
At least 3.
Yeah.
So H4. Just go H4.
H4 is coming. Get the rook back. He's kind of debating. He doesn't know if he wants to allow
for F4.
any targets. Okay, F4 is a little better, everyone, because then Harry is a real wizard on the H file instead of trading it off. Now Harry's a pass pawn.
But the problem is you've let this white pawn also start pushing. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, what's going to happen? It's going to be a race. Do you want G3 and settle for the draw because you're that worried about the race?
I'm pretty worried. Actually, this has gotten...
It's gotten real dicey because suddenly white is in the ideal spot. If you study your Dvoretsky rook end games, getting your rooks behind the pawn is always the ideal spot. Sacrifices on F2 with 2 passers?
Wait, but G3 is my rook F3, and then I guess you go G2. No, you got this. Although the D pawn is really fast.
Yeah, I don't know.
G3 check.
King F6 or F5? You go to F6 so you can run to E7? I think so.
No, I don't think so. You bring up the analysis board.
Let's do it.
If you go King F6, right, I go D6.
Okay.
You go H2. Oh, you go G1 with check.
Yeah.
That's so important.
The lady enters with Tempe.
I would say D7, but the problem is...
What we analyze is happening. Okay, Alireza settles on not allowing the check because of those lines, but... he's still in big trouble. Queen takes F4, completely playable here, unless he finds a way to maybe make it a little harder. But he goes for it.
Do you think it's whose chances are better here? Do you think Levon is going to win this, or do you think Alireza is going to hold?
I think Levon's going to win. Look at the clock. He's got 5 seconds to a minute and 30. I mean, this is and look at the experience there. Keeping the queen centralized rather than playing forcing tempi moves. This is really going to be instructive for those looking to wonder how you convert on these. The queen wants to be in a spot like this where you create problems, right? Now D7's not possible. Rather than giving the forcing tempo, the queen wants to continue to take squares and make life difficult for the king and rook. Now queen b5 check forces it, and the king can enter. Because if rook e7, king f8, d7, queen b8's mate.
Yep.
And if king f7 and the rook moves anywhere else, the king will come to e6. He just resigns. Yeah. And actually, I'll show the ending.
He won on time.
Oh, he won on time.
Yeah. Because if D7, he was going to queen B7.
Yep, D7, queen B7, he's frozen.
Wow. That was great technique.
Yeah, fantastic technique. Levon Aronian takes a 4-game lead. And again, just if we back up, okay, the next game is underway, and I'll continue on this analysis board to just show you. If you just want to take a note about how to convert on these, the big mistake that a lot of people make in these positions is they just panic and start giving checks.
Right.
Checks, and you force the king and rook together. You want to create problems by putting your queen on awkward diagonals that make entry impossible, make coordination impossible. D7 not possible, right? And in these positions, you give necessary checks, but just to improve the queen's position and continue to restrict. One of the key things about this move, Robert, is it guarded this.
Yes.
No rook e6.
And something that's essential to point out is that the rook wants to stay close to the pawn and king, because if you move the rook very far away, one of those checks may pick up your rook.
Yeah, you start to get checks and ways to pick up the rook. So because of that, Alireza was forced to stay as close as possible, but ultimately, look at that technique. Forces d7 and queen b7. There would have been no way to deal with this. Something like check allows king e6, and it's just a matter of time.
Honestly, that was a brilliant game.
Yeah. That was a fantastic piece of chess work.
That might be the best game I've ever seen in the Speed Chess Championship. Like the end game technique. Maybe not the whole game from start to finish.
I was going to say, I think you're suffering from a little recency
bias.
but
that end game, right? Just the way
it was a great end game.
He sacrificed a pawn to go down a pawn.
Yep.
To keep the pressure. He won the H pawn. Decided to push the F pawn to spring for the H pawn.
Yep.
Sacrificed the rook so that he can promote. And then won
you're right.
It was really nice.
Start to finish, especially when you consider the line that it was clearly a line prepared by Levon. Well played, right? A sacrifice of a pawn very early by Black, and Black but despite that, Black was in control the whole game. No, you're right. It's going down as one of the top games we can remember. Maybe we're a little tired. This is our third Speed Chess Championship show this week, and we've got another one right after this. But for sure, that was about as good as it gets. And as far as instruction goes, right, it was textbook. That's how you want to learn to play with the queen versus the rook, whether they have a pawn or not. Creating those awkward positions, just brilliant stuff there from Levon. A 4-game lead has only been overcome one time by the favorite, really, in a match, which was Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, despite going down 4 games against Wei Yi. Eventually came back. Alireza has his work cut out for him. I'm going to go ahead and call it that this is very, very likely the last 5-minute game, which is probably good news
for Alireza.
For Firouzja,
Although, considering how quick Levon has been in the opening, I'm not sure that the quicker time controls are going to be any better for him. And I think that's what I've been most impressed by, is that Levon has just every single game jetted out of the gates and got a time advantage. Ooh, Alireza just took off the headset.
We're glad you liked that. Pep Famoso in the Chess TV chat said he didn't really know how to play queen versus rook, and hopefully that's some instructive takeaways for you. All right. Firouzja takes off the headset. Aronian took a rook on a7 and got out of dodge.
I don't really like this for white, though. Right, like the thing is, the pawn a6. If we highlight the position. The pawn a6 is a potential target. It's cemented there by the pawn a5. On the flip side, that pawn a5 might have wandered too far. In some end games, if imagine the queen's off the board, it can quickly become a target. But with the queens on the board, look at that king on f1. Some of the light squares around it. I can at some point play queen c6, queen b7, just trying to get on the diagonal. I don't really see exactly what white's plan is, but I know that it involves developing the queen side with some kind of knight c3 eventually, rook c1, but you're not fully developed. The queen c2 is an option for Black at any moment.
And I like that he continues to gain a tempo, right? He played the move rook d8, everyone, gaining a tempo on the queen for discovery. Plays the move bishop e7, maybe gaining a tempo on the queen here.
Now knight d5 with the tempo, hitting e3. Looks pretty good.
Hitting the queen and the bishop. Ooh, he doesn't go for it.
He just develops. Says, I don't need to rush anything. Oh, the bishop wasn't. Oh, it would have been protected by knight d5.
Yeah, it would have been protected by the knight. But there's bishop g5. Maybe it saves the day. Okay. But knight c6 makes sense anyway. By putting a little bit of pressure on the a5 pawn, you make the rook question its efforts to leave and join the c file.
And e5 is a move that is trying to open up the diagonal for the queen, so it can maybe sit on e6. But for white, I might put bishop c5. Try to get that c5 square for my knights. But the issue is, if you start, getting your knight kicked from d3 and like pawn e4, you don't have many pieces on your king side. So I know the white king is not in too much trouble just yet, but you don't want to have all your defenders removed, and a potential counterattack will ensue. So let's see, rook c1.
Rook c1 played. for the first time in several games, Alireza Firouzja has a lead on the clock. I think
Yeah.
that's worthy of noting, especially because really has seemed like Levon has dictated the tempo.
Oh my gosh! Is after Rook takes C6, he's got some. Wait, what is he doing after
Rook takes D3.
What does that
That's
do?
got to be the idea.
Wait, what does that
Taking
do?
twice and winning B3.
But
oh wait, there's a check on D1 and then a check on D5, and you pick up the rook.
Wait. So
Right?
can you
Rook
show that
takes.
line?
Rook takes. Okay, let's look at the line. If Rook takes C6, Rook takes D3, take and bake.
King E1.
Okay, this just I didn't look at this. I'll be honest, but I was looking at this. Must have been the idea.
Yeah,
But you're right. I mean, if we can get away with King E1,
because my queen covers the B4 square.
yeah,
so
there's
you
no
can't give me a
bishop
check.
B4 check.
Nothing like that.
Okay, Levon taking a second to think. He's got to question the kid's tactics and say, "Are you really giving me that knight on C6?" He sits up. Alireza maybe taking a peek at the camera, looking at his opponent. They can see each other via our call. And Alireza takes a quick jump away from the camera.
So what is this idea? There are some discoveries, right, with knight to D5 or something, and that might be an option as well, right? So after Rook
Knight
takes-
D5 hits the queen, and then E3 is now hanging because the pawn is pinned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
maybe
that
that's
could be
the
it.
idea.
Yeah.
But it somehow feels a little iffy. So here's King G1. So
Yeah,
is
plays
knight
King G1.
isn't knight D5 still going to be pretty annoying?
Yeah, Knight D5 is still coming, even though the pawn is now not pinned. It would be doubled.
Where's your queen going?
Do I have any? I don't have any squares.
So knight D5 is going to go G. No, that doesn't.
Maybe G4. It's like the only move. I mean, quite literally.
But that looks terrible.
It does, but at least I'm not losing material yet.
I mean, I can even. That looks really bad.
Yeah, Knight D5 looks good, I'm not going to lie. With 15 seconds left, this is officially our last game in the 5-minute segment. Remember, after this, we move on to the faster portion. 3 minutes plus the 1 second increment. Things only get more exciting from here, and much, much more chess to come.
I'm very confused right now. Not about what you just said. That all made sense. A lot more chess
okay,
to come.
that's good.
But knight D5 just looks like it traps that queen on H4.
Yeah, what is Alireza thinking about? He's using his time to double check some things, but
He's just trying to figure out maybe there's something even better somewhere. Like, but what would that be? What would that look like? I would just play knight D5. You're also up on the clock,
Yeah.
right? So you just make the move and should be advantageous for you. Yeah, he'll have to go G4. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know what he's doing here. It honestly reeks a little bit of a lack of experience from Alireza. He's maybe overthinking the position. I mean, we should remind everybody that he qualified. Let's run over a daily question too, actually. The daily question asks you, the community, to help us figure out what are maybe some more ways to get qualifier spots available for the main Speed Chess Championship. We had the Women's Speed Chess Championship, the Junior Speed Chess Championship, a couple of other qualifiers, one of which Alireza Firouzja won. And what are your thoughts on that? Let's see what the community has to say. You can use the hashtag SpeedChess, interact with our official Twitter account on Chess.com, and let us know your thoughts. We'll wait to get some tweets, and we'll show them when we have them. So, yeah, again, I say that it was a natural thing for me to think about because I'm wondering, like, it just shows a little bit of lack of experience. Like, what is he thinking about here? He just let all of his time go away
And there, knight D5.
to play knight D5. G4 was forced.
Right. We talked about this. Yeah, queen E6, queen G6. The thing is, inducing G4 is good for black because it weakens white's king.
Weakens the king. G4 is a target.
You can take on E3 next.
After something like queen G3, you take E3. The queen can't take, so you're going to have to double your pawns.
Weesh. So maybe you do take with the queen, just sacrifice the pawn as like the
Okay.
best of bad options. But
Right.
No,
But again,
great.
it just didn't. I mean, now it's going to be a time scramble.
Whoa.
For the ages. Whoa, what a way to hold on. This is best defense is a good offense. Let's analyze this and show the threat. The point is, if bishop takes, you take e6, and the knight hangs at the end of the line. So Aronian wins his piece back. What a move. And if you take, not only are you removing the idea that you get my queen, but I take right back, and probably your position just falls apart.
Yeah.
What a move with knight c5. And only 18 seconds. This is where you could have used the time on the clock, right?
Right. Now Levon's up 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
He went from down a minute to.
And he's probably gonna convert here. I mean, as we watch the time scramble come to a close, it just a 5-game lead for the Armenian headed into the 3-minute is not where Alireza Firouzja wanted to be. Thanks, Captain Obvious Dan. Again.
Oh, pin knight.
He's going to convert. 1 second, 2 seconds. He's going to trade on c8, up a pawn in the endgame. Super rough. Alireza giving a smile maybe to lighten the mood. I've heard that if you force a smile, it can send endorphins and through your body, even though you don't actually feel happy. I've been trying that for a while. The pills work. That doesn't seem to work.
I just heard that when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while.
Oh, thank you, Bruno. Wow.
So he's got to go knight c4 to try to win this 8. But
this is no. I think Levon converts this one. Living on the increment is Alireza.
Yeah, this doesn't look good. And I see Sam Copeland making a good point. That bishop e1 was better than bishop f6 to get that a5 pawn.
Yeah, but b4 was possible there. I don't know that was really a saving grace, to be honest. And Aronian wins. With it, he takes a 5-game lead into the 3-minute portion. We have lots of action ahead, of course. 3-minute, 60 minutes of 3-minute, 30 minutes of 1 minute, more matches after that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. 8 of the most elite Chess 960 players on the planet are set to clash in the FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship quarterfinals beginning October 4th and ending October 6th, played exclusively on Chess.com. It's a game where creativity is king and memorization is impossible, and only one player will earn the right to call themselves the king of Fischer Random. Vladimir Fedoseev, Alireza Firouzja, Wesley So, Fabiano Caruana, Peter Spidler, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Vidit Gujarathi, and Hikaru Nakamura. These players will take center stage as they attempt to outwit and outclass each other in a chess variant that many consider to be the game in its purest form. The FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship quarterfinals will be an event like no other. With over $350,000 in prizes up for grabs, it is the biggest prize fund for any event in online chess history. Will you tune in to witness who moves on from the quarterfinals to join Magnus Carlsen in Oslo? Tune in on the first weekend of October on Chess.com TV and Twitch.tv/chess. It's the FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship, organized by Dunde S and Chess.com. And as the 2019 Speed Chess Championship continues, a little bit of a preview for everyone in terms of what's to come. After the Speed Chess Championship doubleheader today, we will have the Fischer Random World Chess Championship qualifier drawing. The setup you see here, go ahead and give them a little preview of what's under these pawns here.
I don't even know which pawn's which. Let's pull up this one.
Let's bring it up.
Who dat?
Look at that.
Oh,
that's
Vidit.
the man, Vidit Gujarathi. So, going to be kind of fun here to make a random drawing where Grandmaster Robert Hess and I will help determine the pairings. Alireza Firouzja, it will be random. You will have different camera angles to confirm and provide security, some transparency in the process. We're looking forward to it. Let's remind everybody of the 8 players that will have their faces put on pawns so that we can draw them. There they are. I can't wait to see what first round matchups we have. All of that action is coming to you tomorrow, is October 4th. But today, we still have a lot of chess action to go. Levon Aronian, Alireza Firouzja, a 5-game lead for the favorite. Obviously, the daily question from a couple days ago was about who, as an underdog, had the best chance. Alireza won that vote. Right now, he's got a lot to prove. Let's remind everybody of the daily question from today, because we have a couple Twitter responses before the 3-minute takes off, Robert. We give everyone a chance to vote. Alireza made his way into the SCC via a qualifier. So what are some other qualifiers we could have, community? Here we go. Why don't you go ahead and read this one?
The Bullet Chess Championship, of course, so that speedy and unknown chess players have the chance to play a stronger and well-known online tournament. That is Francisco Jose. And he just wants Bortnick strong. That's what I think he wants.
Yeah.
And Ramesh says, country-wise championship, then championship of champions. That's interesting.
That's actually been discussed because we have such a growing international community. One of the fun facts that you may not know is that Krikor, who's the face of really Chess.com in Portuguese,
yeah.
right? He lives in Brazil. He's actually already run his own speed chess championships in Portuguese. And we've had other events similar to that, sort of call them the satellite SCC.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting way that we might turn this whole thing into a year-round endeavor to give more opportunities. So anyway, cool stuff. If you got any other ideas, throw them at us on Twitter. Use the hashtag SpeedChess. You can vote, I believe, via the Twitch extension poll here. You can also just give us an opinion in chat. Maybe we'll read it. But right now the games are about to begin, and we're going to read the chessboard here because we have liftoff into the 3-minute portion.
And Alireza gets the white piece in this one, and he needs to win it. I mean,
Yep.
he's down 5 games, 7-2. We know that both MVL and Jan-Krzysztof Duda came back from 4 or 5 point deficits earlier in the SEC, just last month. And Duda beat Anish Giri, MVL beat Wei, but against Levon Aronian, I don't know. Being down 5 games,
Tough task, right?
insurmountable.
For those of you who may have forgotten, Levon Aronian made it all the way to the semifinals last year in the Speed Chess Championship before ultimately being outed by the eventual champion, Hikaru Nakamura. So Levon Aronian is pretty good, as we keep saying, pretty good at chess. He's pretty good he's being a great dad to his dog, Ponchik. Shout out to Ponchik. So anyway, Levon Aronian, obviously very, very good at what he does and a experienced competitor in the SEC. His opponent, on the other hand, Alireza Firouzja, this is the first main SEC he's ever been in, and right now, time to turn things around.
Yeah, and he needs to just start winning immediately. And right now he's at a kind of the good position to try to fight for a win. And why do I say that? Look at the hanging pawns. What are hanging pawns? C5 and D5. They don't protect each other. They are reasonably well advanced, but anytime you push one, say you push that pawn to D4, you give away all of the squares that it currently was holding, E4 and C4. So that's why Levon went for A5, A4 to break open the queen side for his rook on A8. The white rook is not on the A file, so that gives black some counterplay on the queen side.
Yeah, and you highlight the storyline of this position well, right? The hanging pawns and what happens with them will be the key point. White wants to poke and prod at those things. That's why a move like 91 was played, not just to open the bishop, but maybe a maneuver here. Because, again, if you can force them forward, as Robert's saying, they only get weaker. They become more targetable. I think that's a word. So bishop g5 played, threatening in a lot of positions to just go brute force, right? Remove the knight and win the pawn.
But it's good that that rook's on e8, because in some of those lines with the rook on e8, if you take on f6, take with my bishop, e2 falls, and that could be good news for Levon, at least a good opportunity for him to try to hold the position. But you're right. Right now, bishop takes f6, followed bishop takes d5 is a very big threat, just winning a pawn.
Yeah, and the threat is on the board, especially because there's already a double attack right now with the bishop on b7. So Levon has something to think about here, something to chew on. He's
also
doing that.
He's also down 50 seconds in the clock.
Yeah. So if you were looking for a tempo-changing game, right, switch of directions, winning the first game in the 3-minute portion might be huge, and Levon Aronian right now down on the clock.
Yeah, and well, he's a lot to figure out here, because you can play a move like rook to b8, but that's met perhaps by simply capturing on f6, and d5 still hangs. And an issue in any of these endgames is if you lose d5 and then lose c5, the 4-on-3 potential
I was
majority.
going to say maybe one of the key points that holds it down for Aronian is you do have e2 hanging in some positions right now anyway, right? So there's a little bit to be figured out. Okay, Firouzja's going for it. Okay, we're going to see. Apparently he doesn't care about the e2 pawn in the line I just highlighted.
Well, there's some back rank checkmate. So if you take on d5, I'll take with my rook, and here we'll see this happen. Rook d takes c5, such that back rank may exist, but the a2 pawn...
but that's the key point, as you said, right? A2 not capturable, everyone, because of that threat of rook c8.
Oh, wait a second. Instead of g6, he could have played rook b to e8. I think it was a missed opportunity.
Oh, a tempo on the knight and this pawn here. Now, knight c2 holds it all together, though.
Ah.
So maybe it was okay.
It looks like a very weird move to play, but you're right. It seems to hold.
So Alireza up a pawn. What he needs is a victory, though. The bishop is the better minor piece of the two.
Yep. But the a2 pawn's the better a pawn of the two, because there's only one.
Hey, what happened to my a pawn? Where'd you go? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that Alireza should slow play, as in, man, do anything too drastic. Rook e1 is a good move.
I like that.
Put that rook on e2.
Yeah, rook a7, rook e2. It's still hard to see progress for white. How do you get this pawn pushing? Note that the bishop on f6 is just such a thorn in your shoe, preventing you from putting a rook on a1 and just pushing. So
he's going to put the knight on c4. Then he might eventually try to get it to square like d5 or something like that. You just need to start just poking and prodding, make some threats. There's on e4, okay?
e4 to c5. Again, Robert inadvertently giving great grandmaster advice, everyone.
Ooh, knight b5 and knight e8 is under attack.
He missed it. He missed it. Aronian blundered that.
You have to go rook a6.
He doesn't see it. Oh, he does see it. Okay. Rook a6 holds the bishop. But what I was going to say is, Robert, giving inadvertent advice there, a centralized knight is, regardless of where it goes, is the way you combat the better minor piece. So Alireza did everything he could to eventually improve that knight and bring it to some better squares. So good for him.
Yeah, and now the knight went from d2 up to e8. What do you get for that promotion?
Nothing. It's kind of like you get a king across the board in checkers or something. But wait, maybe actually in that case you actually do get.
Wait, what king in checkers?
An extra. Can't
you
you get
promote?
a king me in checkers?
Yeah, and then it goes back.
And then you go backwards and you get a triple king?
I don't know about
what
that.
happens if you get to the...
We
get a fact check on that. What happens in checkers?
You're like, I'm just going to take a sip of this here cup of joe.
Oh, knight to c7, headed to b5. We got a fact check, I think, coming here. Interesting data coming.
You guys go rook e7 at some point.
Yep.
because
Boop.
by capturing f7, you protect f2.
Time scrambles on. For the first time, Alireza flexing on the clock. This is what the people have been waiting to see. Now we got, no, not yet. Okay, I'm really curious about this. I want to know the answer. Fact check on checkers. You get a
You
king.
know,
Go ahead.
Danny, this kind of thing is not in my job description.
Is that appropriate?
I'm just saying, like, if this is what you want from me in the future, we need to talk about it.
We need to talk about it. Okay, so Wikipedia, pop culture references. Okay, we'll add that.
Battleship when the live chess server
Yeah,
goes down, I
okay,
think is
that'll
fine.
be
though.
good. All right, well, okay. Levon eventually trades f7 for a2. But I think this improves Alireza's chances.
Yeah, although this new pin is kind of annoying. I did totally agree that.
Okay, it's because the pawns all come to one side of the board that we think that might be good for the knight to outmaneuver the bishop.
Yep.
But
and there are just so many checkmating nets with like knight e6 to g5 coming.
Knight e6, g5. Try to put something on h7. You can also maybe try to poke at the g pawn if the knight comes to other squares, whether it's f4 or e7.
Yeah, I just didn't figure out how to get there. That's the problem.
Maybe you unpin with king h3 coming and then f4. I kind of like king h3 because if you had traded knight takes f8, hit g6. All right, he didn't go for it.
Well,
But
knight f8 now. Threads
knight
rook
f8
takes
now.
g6
Rook
mate.
takes g6 is mate.
Yep, knight f8.
Find it.
Oh,
we didn't see it. Knight f8.
No.
Oh, sick.
Knight f8 had both h7
Knight
and
f8 would have
g6.
been nasty.
Yeah, he missed it. Huge missed opportunity because
If he doesn't win this game, that's the kind of thing that comes back to him. We will show it for those of you who didn't calculate it as quickly in your head. We'll back this thing up, but I think that was a win.
Yeah.
I think he missed it. Oh my
was.
gosh. That's the game that Alireza needs to happen. The kid needs a break to keep this match close, and drawing this would not be that. Okay, but he still has chances here. Still has chances to win.
Yeah, you can play this on forever.
Yep.
So where's he gonna go? F4 at some point, and then try to he can go F4 and put his rook on B6 and go for F5. That's one of the ideas here. Another idea is to go at some moment knight F7 check and reroute that knight.
Mm-hmm. He's trying. Oh! Oh my God! The rook was on B2, and he's like, "What did I do?" Oh!
I just lost it.
I lost it.
Oh my gosh.
Alireza lost it, and it wasn't even like a swindle by Levon. Rook B2 was a legitimate offer because of the trade. We'll back this thing up on the analysis board real quick and show everybody what happened. What a heartbreaker for the kid here. This move, Rook B2, was not a trolling move by Levon. The bishop protects it, right? And so Aronian just offering a trade to try to get drawing chances, and Firouzja just completely blunders the rook.
Oh
Now,
my
for those of you who wanted to see the mate earlier, back in the position with both pieces on the board, right here, instead of the move knight g5, knight to f8, threatening rook takes g6 mate. Because of this, the rook can be sacrificed. This is the key thing Alireza missed. Knight f8 would have been, I think, just lights out. How do you stop rook takes g6?
Because if you play rook a6, I take your rook on a6.
And now h7's mate.
Yep.
So knight f8 has dual. There's no way to deal with both g6 and h7 as dual threat mates, both of them protected by the knight. Oh my gosh, dude. What a heartbreak. What a turnaround. What a game. That's a 6-game lead now for Levon Aronian. Alireza is on full tilt here.
Yeah, you got to feel for him because he played a nice game there, right? He was up a pawn.
Yep.
He traded the A pawn for the F pawn, and then unfortunately for him, he hung a rook in an endgame where only he could press forever.
Wow. Levon is so serious here. I don't know how closely he follows our daily question Twitter polls from day one, right? Did he know that Firouzja was voted as the most likely to upset? Obviously, we know Levon really likes the Speed Chess Championship. He said that, and he wants to maybe get back to the semifinals. I don't know what motivation Levon needed today, Robert, but is this as good as we've seen him play in a Speed Chess Championship? This is fantastic chess
here.
here.
And he's won 6 games in a row. It was
He's
2-2.
won 6 games in a row. And
it started when he was up 3-2, and he won that game where he sacrificed the pawn, and then Alireza just forgot that he was getting checkmated. You know, he was in a bad position at that point anyway, but it seems like Alireza is just missing many things today, and he is such a tactical wizard, but he's just not showing his best stuff, and I think the real reason why is not because Alireza is doing anything particularly wrong. It's because Levon is so strong and so tricky, and I know everyone is used to seeing Alireza play online, and they say, he's so tactical, all this, but Levon is that and a little bit more.
Right.
So that's the real issue right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's up against a very, very strong player, a very, very strong competitor. And We have a little bit of a visit there from Fabiano Caruana and Vladimir Fedoseev, the ghosts of the future Fischer random pass. I love that.
They just came to say
LOL.
and now they've gone back down
LOL.
below.
LOL.
LOL, right?
That's why they pay me the big
That's
bucks.
what happens when you're running so many shows. Chess.com, the amount of events we're doing these days, right? When you're trying to prepare for a major event, the first ever world championship we've ever been a part of while running the Speed Chess Championship, our producers are hard at work. So
Also, Levon's blitz rating is now 31-32. He's getting really high up there.
yeah, he's higher rated than Firouzja.
By 100 points. He's been stealing all of Firouzja's rating. So we'll see if Levon can keep up that trend. And right now, with the white pieces here, there's a lot of pressure on d6. And this bishop on h4 looks excellent. But look at Levon. He just says, I don't want to trade things off. I don't want to liquidate. I don't want to open up squares for black.
Yeah, I just want the pressure, baby.
I'm going to sit on the position.
Yep.
And you can never take on e5 twice because look at that diagonal. Look where the queen's situated. Look where the rook on b8 situated. So anytime you try to take on e5 too many times, you're opening up a diagonal for you to lose material on.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Bishop g7 trying to fix that problem so that you could take and keep control. Excuse me. Don't move your bishop like a knight. Move your bishop like a bishop. E6 played now to prevent that.
Yep.
And this e-pawn is strong, but advancing it allows the knight back, right? Gives up control over the f6 square.
The problem is, where's that knight going after f6? The e4 is well covered. And I like Levon's decision not to take on b5. A lot of people say, I can take this bishop off the board for my knight, but the knight at c3 covers that e4 square, whereas the bishop on b5 is not really doing anything in particular. And knight h5 played. Okay,
what's the next move? Okay, he wanted to check perhaps, so Levon said no, thank you. I'm wondering where the rook goes from a3. One of the obvious ideas, you overprotect the knight here for tactics, but I wonder if he has more ambitions in mind. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not a scientist. I just stated a
You're not?
Holiday in Express.
But you like that
night.
song by Coldplay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Scientist. Fantastic.
Just wanted to make sure. Well, this position just doesn't look fun for black.
Yeah, it's hard for black to find moves. He's also down on the clock by about 30 seconds here currently.
So is he going to play bishop e3 or is he going to play g3? G3 makes a lot of sense. You don't play a move like g3 because you think about the h file.
Uh-oh.
What's uh-oh?
Connection issues. Not just for them, for all of us? No,
Nope.
we're all back.
And now we're back.
And we're back again.
It's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
What?
They're going to do the song they sing the replacements.
I was actually going to go Backstreet's back.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I'm not happy with that. Rook takes b5.
Rook takes b5, followed by knight takes b5. Sack the exchange.
It's probably not that great, but it looks pretty good.
I can't tell what's going on right here with the lag. Levon Aronian's connection way worse currently than... okay, now he's back. Seems like our entire server had a glitch there. So we got about 45,000 people online who all just experienced a bit of a Twilight Zone visit there. So, but we're back. No real problems.
There's some problems here for Firouzja. Besides the score, look at this position.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Levon sacrifices an exchange. He's taking 2 pawns for it.
This is the Armenian chess school at its best.
Sacking exchanges.
Sacking exchanges and then using it. Put the rook on b6. This is a target. This is a target. This is a target, right? He's the Oprah of targets, finding them all. Rook d7.
Yep. Look at knight c4, just protecting that a5 pawn.
Rook b6. Get out of my house, queen. e7, d6. Can somebody say 7-game lead?
7-game lead.
Thank you for answering that redundant question and making me look like a fool.
It's not the first time. Sorry. Don't be sad. Those passed pawns
are made to be pushed. Wowzers. Wowzers, wowzers. A 7-game lead is on the way. e8 queen is one way to do it, followed by d7 and g6 is falling.
What if he goes queen takes g6 first and then goes d7? Because you know how many times
he's done that a few times today, right? That would be unnecessary, though, and here g6 falling is enough for Alireza to
throw in the towel?
Throw in the towel or not. Just not the best day currently for the young man from Iran, doing his best. A great day for FIDE Master Approach and playing Guess the Move with 9 out of 21 right there, first place. Congratulations.
Not bad.
Um,
You can keep improving that.
keep
playing.
improving that, right? Let's get that thing above 50%. But we got a lot of people here. Thanks for being here, regardless of where you choose to be watching today, whether it's Chess.com TV, Twitch.tv/chess, or anywhere else in the world. Let's remind you of more reasons to hit that purple follow button. Or if you're watching it on Chess.com, go ahead, take that journey to Twitch. You can come back. We'll welcome you back. You know, it's okay. I know some of you are watching on the embed right now. I see you in your chair. Put the cat down. Click on the player and go hit that purple follow button above the player.
You're scaring them, Danny.
I know. Somebody just said, somebody just
Put the cat down?
Wondered.
They put the cat down.
They put the cat down. The FIDE Chess.com Grand Swiss coming up as our next major event after the FIDE World Fischer Random quarterfinals this weekend. Lots of good stuff. And then, of course, we have the Fischer Random World Chess Championship in Norway. So 2019, the year of chess events, as it would be. Pretty sure Nostradamus predicted that. 2019 will be the year of chess events, I claim. I don't know if
I love that voice. Yeah, I love that. I was going to say, I love the voice. Also, I love the Voice TV show, but we can talk about that later.
Yep.
Here we see the position where white is expanded on the queen side with a4. The knight on b7. That is not a happy knight.
Not a happy knight.
You don't tend to want your knight to be sitting there, but the good news for black. What is the good news for black?
Are there good things in this position for black? This could be Alireza's chance to strike.
Well, we have said that before.
We did, and we said it before because it was right until the rook fell. Yeah, but no, he's better here as white for sure. I guess the one thing for black is white lacks the next move, right? Where's the next breakthrough coming?
Yeah.
Do you slow play at a5, knight a4, knight b6? That looks like a plan. A pretty good one actually. Now that you're protecting e4, you can free this knight of his duties.
Yep. I like that a lot. The one thing you have to be concerned about is if you move the knight from c3, some kind of d5 push, because black really lacks space, and d5 is not possible thanks to the clamp, e4, c4, knight c3, queen on b3, all stopping that push. So that's what black would like to accomplish, and here goes b5 to make sure that the d5 square is permanently white's. This is bad. Look at that bishop on f8. The bishop on e3 is so much better. So,
ooh. b6 threatens b7.
Yeah, that's remember in the last game where Levon had that passed e pawn protected by a d pawn. That pawn on b6 is pretty happy.
Knight d4, nice try for some counterplay. You might even see c5, despite the fact that d5 becomes a permanent weakness, just to try to reinforce this knight. Okay, he doesn't do it. Smart. Is he going to try to flip something to the king side, as we've seen him do in tricky ways before?
I guess d4 is hanging at the moment, or the good thing of playing knight f1 was to attack it, and
okay,
now
so he does it, but again, the consequence of this, as we said, is d5 is weak.
And what white really wanted to do was somehow trade the g3 knight for the f6 knight, and then just plug that knight on d5. But this is definitely going to be a good trade regardless. And the knight on d4 looks great. It's centralized, it's well protected, but it's not attacking anything, it doesn't have any targets to exploit. So right now it just seems like white is pressing forward.
There's even a threat. Knight c7 is win a6. And then those two pawns are something.
Yeah, knight c7 is certainly a possibility. And maybe he's going to...
Maybe he'd sack the exchange again.
You really don't want to.
I mean, you might have to, right? This isn't the classic Tigran Petrosian Armenian chess school exchange sack. This is, I don't want to lose a6 and end the game.
Right. So if you go knight c7, can black try queen d7 and say, all right, go ahead, try to steal my a6 pawn, but this might happen.
I think. Oh no, the exchange sack is happening. I think the exchange sack is borderline necessary here for black.
Yeah, but doesn't feel.
No, and look at Alireza up on the clock here. Monk AS in the Chess TV chat says Alireza looks defeated, but I think he's perking up now. I think he's perking up. He just needs to get a win. Got to get a win, and this could be the game. Whoa.
Yeah, just put that other rook on b1.
Yep. Bring it to the b file. b8 square.
Yeah, the pawn a6 is still a target. You're up in exchange.
Yeah, but look at Levon defending.
Yeah, there's no clear breakthrough yet.
He has a pawn for the exchange now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
But now
this is just tough.
That's an annoying move for black to meet because you cannot allow knight c3 to d5. Right? You just cannot allow that knight to go forward. So knight takes e2 is a move you don't want to play because you're getting rid of your best piece for a knight that
Okay, what's
Wow.
his plan?
What is his plan?
What's his plan? He wants b4 to guard d5?
Then you're just going to trade on d5 anyway? Seems
Possibly, right? He goes for it. We're going to find out.
So knight d5 here looks very good.
Mm-hmm. The one thing Levon is going for him is if the trade happens and you take with the c-pawn, I am primed to push.
Right.
Right?
What if I just take with the e-pawn? Rook b3.
Interesting.
It's a waiting move? What's the plan here?
Levon pulled up his sleeves and sat up. They need to make those St. Louis Chess Club polos a little more fitted there. He keeps pulling them up like they're too long, affecting his mouse.
Maybe he just doesn't know his proper size.
Maybe he doesn't know his proper size. It's very possible.
Depends on the make.
Right. Sure. European fits different than American fits.
Bishop g5 here. Watch this. Bishop g5.
Okay.
If bishop g7, you take on f6, and then you take on b4.
Oh. Fork down, f6, and c7. It's coming.
And
okay, Firouzja's got to keep up on the clock.
He's
you
well
see the
ahead.
encouragement coming from chat. I agree with them.
Knight d5 now. Just trade it. There it is.
Here it is. This is a game to convert. This is a game to convert if you're Alireza. Get on the board. Keep this thing close. We talked earlier about Levon Aronian's motivation. I'll say that, okay, the other motivation he has to keep building on this lead is Alireza will be the favorite in bullet. Yes. I don't care what Smarter Chess says.
How big of a favorite?
We'll find out. But I think that Levon's focus here, remains high with a 7-game lead because he knows that will likely see a dent there from Alireza soon.
Yeah, this game, take on c7, play queen b7.
b7. There is no queen a5. a6 is falling now. This has to be a game that Alireza wins. Look at the clock. He's actually up on the clock now for the first time in a very long time. Last-ditch effort is e4, e3 by Aronian. He's going for it. Alireza should just calculate, make sure it's not good. Even a6, e3, rook e1 is good enough.
That looks actually very, very strong.
There is take in queen h4, but I don't think it does anything. Okay, this also brings a second queen to the game.
You get one little check here and there, but my king can always run away, especially because my rook is on b1. So just king takes f2.
Yeah, just don't even allow it. Take and back up and put the king on h1. It's over. Whoa! Overthinks that a little bit.
Okay, queen and then check and then you just take and same idea.
Should still be winning, yeah.
Yeah, you need the knight to jump to e4 in one turn.
Yeah, here comes queen h8, queen e7. I'm assuming there's mate. Look at Levon making
queen
this
h6.
About as tricky as possible. Queen h4 does the job.
Queen f2 mate. No, it's not mate.
Yeah, but the queen's being traded I think was good enough for
Mate.
Aronian to resign. And we have the first victory for Alireza in more than an hour.
Wow.
It's been an hour since he got a victory. If you're one of the viewers just joining us, it was a 2-2 score in this match before Levon Aronian went on the run that just ended there, right?
They've
Firouzja
still had no draws.
No draws. No draws. Let's get a stat check on that. How long have we had a match? So far we've had a total of what's the match score?
12. So
12
9
games.
3, yeah.
9-3. 12 games with no draws to start a match. Has got to be getting pretty close to the record, if not there. So.
Yeah, it's actually unbelievable that we've had no draws. And honestly, most of the games have not felt even close to draws.
Prior to this match, Aronian's longest win streak ever was 5 games, so he broke his own record there. Tayeb99, Diamond member on Chess.com and a well-known chatter in the Twitch community as well, just won the Guess the Move. Shout out to that. If you want to play Guess the Move, click on the link that will be provided here soon, one of our awesomely helpful mods, and head over to Chess.com and try to guess the moves before the players play them themselves. Test your chess knowledge.
Well, this position we've seen many, many, many times.
Yep.
Here, the point
Not
is
in
that
this match, but in classical games. Yeah.
Right. The point is that black has the 2 bishops, but if you look at the bishops, the bishop on c8 often gets traded for the bishop on d3 via some kind of bishop a6 maneuver, but the bishop on f6 doesn't really have anywhere useful to go because the pawn on d4 and the pawn on f4 mean that bishop has no life. And so it's a big issue for black in terms of how to get activity, as I can go knight e5, by I mean the player with the white pieces, and just gain even more space. If you ever take me, I take with the f pawn and double my pawns and then just start throwing my stuff forward. So it's a pretty easy position to play for white, but I like what black has done. Just saying, okay, I'm not taking on b4 until I'm ready to take over the a file. And here, white can just try to challenge that rook. Rook b3 is always an option, but he plays better than my last suggestion, just 95.
These are positions that only Gatakomsky can love, right? with a hairdo to change the world.
Look at the bishop on b7.
It's just it reminds me, it's the d4 version of the French. Let me create a bad positional structure so I can grovel for a draw.
Yep, and well, look at this. Bishop h5 going tactical right away, f7.
Yeah, and I think this is a bad blitz opening to choose, especially after you just got to win. So
yes,
it's hard for me to be nicer about this position. I'm sorry.
You need to play something that gives you like legitimate chances
right,
to
or
fight
double.
for a win.
Yeah, this is just one of those lines, especially against Aronian, where he knows
gosh.
this stuff. You know,
knight takes g6, and then other knight to e5, something like that looks. Oh, this is probably better. He's going knight e5 next.
yeah, with tempo on the queen, followed by a sacrifice on g6, if you're into it. Knight e5, maybe queen e8, and he doesn't sack because he's still just better, right? You've got a great knight versus a Franken bishop.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, so he sits tight.
I would sack because
Okay, this makes sense, right? I mean, Firouzja's best chance is to trade here, and as I said, grovel for a draw with the bad bishop.
You're right. No, you're 100% right. And any rook trade benefits white because black's only chances are coming down the a file somehow.
Yep, this is the key for black holding the whole position, is to keep pressure on the a file. So rook b3 tries to change that.
I think we might see our first draw. I think there might be some kind of rook
Really?
a2.
Right as we made the call to action that we've had 12 straight games with no draws?
Yeah, because at some point I think black can go rook a2 and rook back to a3, and I don't know how white exactly makes progress.
Ooh.
But Levon's trying, so credit to him.
Okay, but now with bishop d3, here's his idea. He wants to eventually challenge the a file, and the queen can never leave because then bishop takes g6 will happen.
Right.
So he's going to play queen to c3, then put the rook on a1, simplify things on the a file, and just grind through this endgame.
But if all the queens and rooks are off, then it will likely be a draw because there's no real way for white to break through.
Yeah, fair, right? As bad as the bishop is, there's no way to break through.
That's a bad bishop.
It's a bad bishop. It's a bad bishop.
I don't think even a mother could love that bishop.
Yeah, that is a bad bishop.
How about queen a4 here?
Oh, now you're talking. Queen a4, that's a pinned bishop. He finds it.
So rook b1, or rook e3 is probably smart. Oh, or not.
Rook b1, are we going to get that first peaceful result of the day? What I want is queen b2, bishop c2, move the rook, queen b1, sack on g6. That's what I want.
You want it all, and you want it
I want
now.
it all, and I want it now.
How about knight takes g6 there, rook takes e6 to follow?
Ah, he might be preparing it. Look out. Look out.
I'm looking. Queen
Look
c2.
out. h3. He's taking advantage of the fact that he can sit tight, right? He's in control of all the cards, being Levon Aronian here. Uh-oh.
That bishop on b7 is so sad.
So sad. That's a bad sign that you played rook a6. Here comes g5, and this queen is going to work it with no diggity to the h-file. Here goes. g5.
Gonna bag up that w?
Yep.
But g5 lets bishop takes e5, which I'm not sure.
You're still just better, though, as white. That's a nice move. If takes, you take with the f-pawn, and the queen lands on h6.
Yeah.
The eagle has landed here. This is just such a tough position for black.
So do you reroute now with bishop c2? There it is. And if rook a2, queen b1. Oh,
Uh-oh.
gosh, queen b1. Play queen b1, and then you're really threatening to sack.
You're going to take with the knight, take with the bishop.
Do you take it right now?
Okay, get the rook out first. Again, patience. Patience.
It's a
right?
virtue, but I wasn't being virtuous.
Bishop b3. He's pointing out the fact that black, it's like a good dictator, right? Just continue the abuse.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I wasn't being specific. I'm just saying that's what bad people do. And he's just dictating the position. He can play knight d7 if he wants at some point.
He can do what we were talking about in
do whatever he wants.
Mama Jarvim, g5, knight g4, knight f6 check. You know, just like trying to...
g5, knight g4, knight f6 check. I like that too.
So what?
f5.
It's
Here
about
it
time.
goes. Here it goes. The breakthrough is on. Okay, I was going to say the queen's going to come back to c8. This also works.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Can you take on... No, you can't take on g6 because they're...
Maybe
h3.
take f7.
Queen d8.
He's sacrificing c2 for queen d8. The
Oh.
mating net is real.
Yep.
Oh, it hurts. Taking advantage of the queen, cutting herself off from the defense. What a move. He pops his collar. Go on, brush your shoulder off. Aronian is playing chess too. Go on, brush your shoulder off. I wasn't gonna say the rated R version. Go on, burst your shoulder off.
Whoa. Bishop
Whoa.
D7? I don't understand. What if you just take it? What if you just take it?
That's a good idea. He took it.
F6.
F6 looks like it does the trick. By the way, Queen H4 threatens mate because the knight guards the escape square.
Oh, so that would have just made it right away?
They should have done that first. Yeah, I think Queen H4 was even better than F6, but he's going to win regardless.
Yeah, that was nice.
Steak sauce, dude.
Steak sauce, my dude.
Steak sauce, my dude.
I hope your sons are watching.
That's steak sauce, my dude. By Levon Aronian.
Queen H4.
Queen F4 threatens Queen B8
Yeah.
anyway.
But Queen H4 was your idea, so I wanted to support it.
Yeah.
Wow. Levon's up to 31.
That was a
34.
game. That was a game.
It's just you're so right though. That opening choice was really bad.
Not good.
Really, really bad. You just don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're groveling for a draw from move 10.
Yeah.
And you have no real chance to play for more. And Levon is cruising right now. Still no draws.
No draws.
Can we get
13
that stat?
games.
We're
We'll get a
smarter
check
chess.
on that, yeah.
We're smarter chess.
By the way, in that last game, National Master JBD 735 got 25 out of 47. That's more than 50%.
There you go, JBD.
Leapfrogging Tayeb 99 and Guess the Move. Follow the games live at Chess.com and play Guess the Move. Have some fun. Wow. What a game right there. The longest draw streak total was 20 games in Gonina Danielle. The longest no draw streak total.
Yeah, but what about the SEC? So that was a
That's
WSCC.
the WSCC.
That's still crazy.
That's also amazing.
Yeah.
That's 20 straight games
Yeah,
of no draws.
that's nuts.
That's nuts.
But now I'm very curious about the SEC. So smart chess not being so smart now, is
We need Fun Master Mike, the original stat guy, stat boy, behind the scenes.
Smart chess in the chat. Hess putting me to work. Oh man, this is
What a great game that was, though. By the way,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was not the best opening choice for Alireza, and we were rightfully a little critical, but
Ooh.
but that was nuts.
Sam Copeland says JBD is the Chess.com 2018 Daily Chess Champion. By the way,
Really,
so
wow.
No wonder guessing the
The
moves.
daily chess champion coming through, right?
Yeah,
Amazing.
trying to add another title to the Guess the
Yeah.
Move Champion.
Guess the move champion, huh?
So what do you think about that knight in D5?
Well, I've seen better, but that's pretty good.
Sure. You know what? How it would be better if the knight in F3 and the knight in D8 were traded. That's how it would be better.
Yeah, if you take off these two guys, this is a knight that you can write home to mom and dad about. This is the good stuff right here. Firouzja in control of this one, looking to bounce back, bring this thing back to 6 games. 26 minutes left in the 3 minutes plus 1 second increment portion. For those who don't speak chess lingo, time control, that's what that means. 3 minutes plus 1 second increment is what we're seeing here.
Yeah. And this is how about A4 now? Now the B pawn is pinned. I move like A4. Seems reasonable. Okay, Rook B1. Like I said, I mean
Not a bad idea either.
You heard
pinned the
me
pawn.
clamoring for A4, but the
Hey,
reason why I liked
You
A4 is
don't
I would
always
take
get what you want.
I would take with the C pawn and then push my A pawn. Right? I was trying to get an outside pass pawn.
Okay, I'll back this thing up and show everybody what Robert wanted. You play A4. The main difference is you take, and then A5.
Yeah, I just want to
Keep
get
the
that
A
pawn
pawn.
going.
Yeah, that's Okay, I agree. That did seem a little more logical, but he takes F6, parting with the brilliant knight for the chance to swing things to the king's side for an attack. Honestly, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I feel like the advantage might be slipping here. It's still better for white, but the dominance that once was, right? If we back this thing up just a few moves ago where you asked me, how do I like that knight? Right?
Yep. You like it on the board, is what
I
you're
like it
saying.
on the board better than here. F5, a dynamic defensive move. I like it. You're not allowing knight H4 with the clamp. And again, I'm not denying these are obviously two very strong grandmasters, and white is better. But look at the position. If it opens up, the rook doesn't feel as awkward anymore. I don't like it.
Yeah, black's king's not that unsafe, and you
Yep.
can take on E4 here, and then put your knight on D4, and the knight on D4 stops your whole plan of knight F5.
Yep.
So here comes queen H5. Maybe F4 is gonna follow suit, but F4 doesn't actually. There's no knockout punch, and I think that F4 might help black when you take E takes F4. Your rook can swing over the king's side.
Yeah.
So this has been very smart defensive play by Levon Aronian.
Yeah, this is the highest levels of speed chess, right? In the Speed Chess Championship. These guys play such good games with no time on the clock. The fact that he's defending this, but also it's a sign of Firouzja just letting it slip.
H6 is a move that I don't know if I would ever have considered.
But it's good, right?
Yeah, it's probably
so good. Just guarding g5. If knight f5, you'll trade and put the queen on f6, right? Black has completely defended. The advantage is gone here for white.
Yeah, really interesting move.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, how can I play d5 or something like that? But that would open up some more files and things like that for the white attack, whereas h6 is calm.
Yeah, and it also stops anything going here with a perpetual, and with an edge on the clock, maybe this thing turns around completely.
Yeah.
We still haven't had a draw if you're just joining us. 13 straight decisive games in this match.
Yeah, I was in queen f6 to h6, but I really like h6 more. And now rook e3 to g3 is an idea, of course. So rook c3. So, now if you go rook e3, there's some kind of rook c1 check.
Yeah,
queen takes f2.
Maybe queen f4. Then rook g3 actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going on here. That's actually a lot to calculate, though. It's not.
Which is bad for Firouzja because he's down to 30
doesn't
seconds.
have a lot of time.
Oh, he did it. He's going for it.
I was going to say, it's not so simple because let's look at the line. He runs the king first. And part of the reason, everyone, is because if you had given check and taken first, now the check and the queen enters with tempi. And that kind of changes the attack. So king f8 runs. That allows Firouzja to fix the bad knight.
Queen f4 here? Oh, there's g3.
Or rook c1 first and then queen f4.
But you have g3, for white.
In both lines. But even so, rook c1, king up, queen f4, g3, queen back.
Oh, you're just going to retreat.
I like it, right? You take, shake and bake, and f2's falling.
So you just go king g2, I guess. But yeah, you still have
Black's
pressure.
doing well.
Yeah, he's going to consider something like that. If it's rook c2, saying your knight's pinned.
Another way to do it, right? Ever move that knight, we got mate.
And I wonder if Black can just try to play for one with like knight e6.
Or knight e2 to do the same thing. Getting the queens off the board. f2 is a problem.
That's a huge problem.
Black is in complete control of this game. The time scramble will be close to equal, though, and this is where Aronian will have to continue to prove his worth, right?
Yep. And he can go knight e2 check, knight back to f4 if he's like trying to make a draw, or like this, rook c1, rook c2.
But he wants more.
Oh my gosh, that
he
pawn.
wants so much more.
King g3.
He's Bob Barkering.
Yeah, that's
take the whole thing. Check. Put it on f6 and
put it on g7 almost. So
check and go to g7.
So you can go f5.
I love that. He'll repeat it. I think he'll find it the second time around.
He's gaining some time trouble.
Oh, nope.
No.
Our first peaceful result.
No.
It happened.
I'm very upset about that.
Oh, man. I'm surprised Levon didn't push that on.
Yeah, I guess he figured that, if he pushed too much, maybe he could get himself in some trouble, but it looked very nice.
Yeah.
Looked very good. So we have another little g3, bishop g2.
Yep.
Situation going on here. D5.
Tayyip 9-9 recovering, takes back the crown from JBD 735, and guess the move. 22 out of 43 for Tayyip 9-9, 22 out of 50 for JBD, daily chess champion on Chess.com.
Sometimes less is more.
Those two guys are throwing at it. They're not throwing at it. That would be like throwing something to the wall.
It'd be like
they're throwing down.
It'd be like Dobrov with his hammer.
It's almost like bring it on. Y'all just got served, right? Whatever happened to that?
You just actually did that live on the show.
Steak sauce, my dude.
No, we did that once.
Steak sauce, my dude.
No, not again. Don't say it. I know you.
Look at those dancing heads having a party.
Only one of them looks like they're having a party.
Right. One of them's on top, but they're creating they're working together to create a fish, like that scene from Fantasia where all the.
So in other words, if Alireza goes on a winning streak, we'll get the fish.
Yeah, that's right. If Alireza goes on a winning streak, if we stay flat here, we're going to be seeing a flat lining from the bottom. But there you go. Well, interesting stuff here today. I think that Levon Aronian is sending a message to a degree right now. Obviously, we know Bullet is ahead, and if Alireza can get this thing even just a little bit closer, right? Does he find a way to finish the 3-minute portion with a couple victories? What do you think the range needs to be for him to realistically have a chance in Bullet to come back?
4.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anything more than 4, I think it's out of reach because Levon is quite a talented Bullet player.
Yeah.
He's got stable internet connection, and we've seen Levon play many times. And one of the times was
at the Bullet Chess Championship where he was
at a hotel
lobby with a horrible internet connection
because he was playing in the Bundesliga or something
Right.
like that. So he
Right.
had a really bad connection. He was playing Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, I
Yep.
remember. Didn't work out very well. No draws, 19 games in a row was yesterday.
Nakamura to Dobrov.
Or 2 days ago. I'm losing track of time. 2 days ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Jinx.
There you go. You owe me a Coke.
No, I just jinxed you.
Knight f4, d3 is going to fall again. I think Aronian has shown a little something in terms of prep, and I wonder if he just played the English as part of, he features this weapon regularly in his over-the-board repertoire.
Yeah.
But I wonder if he specifically was like, I really feel like this is my opportunity, some different tricky move orders, right? That's where experience really pays off, right? A lot of times these young players can reach these levels, a lot of talent, a lot of great vision, calculation, but no matter how good you are, there's still experience that takes time to get. And I think sometimes these sort of obscure move orders can...
And honestly, it's move 15, and this looks like...
White's just clearly better.
Yeah.
How
and
I'm dealing with this, dealing with this.
It's not an insult to Alireza, but it's something that you mentioned earlier about how the flexibility that Aronian showed has put Alireza in these situations where he needs to find accurate move
and
orders.
look at the clock because of it.
Yep, the clock situation is clearly in favor of Levon. Rook e2 here. Okay, that's a pretty good decision at this point.
Almost necessary. I still think it'll
Just
be
take on f6 and
kind of
take on
superficial.
d3.
Take f6. If the queen takes, we win the pawn with tempo. If the pawn takes, now you've got long-term positional problems.
I mean, knight d6 might scoop the pawn back
Knight
up.
d6 wins the pawn anyway with tempo, and now the king is open. And look at the queen side. Hello, McFly. Bueller.
Just want full Marty on me?
Right. Nobody's playing over there. Nobody's home.
Oh, I just called it Mardi Gras.
Oh, sad. No. Anyway, no, but seriously, this has just been a very, very good performance for Levon Aronian, and something that Alireza will learn from regardless of what happens in Bullet, because the Blitz has been dominated by the Armenian, no matter what the final score is at the end of the day.
Yeah. Which also indicates that it's been dominated by Levon at this point.
Yep.
Rook e1's a nice move. Just trying to say, look at the queen side. Your bishop's on c8, can't move. Your rook on a8, can't move. And if I get a piece of the final rank, you're going to be...
problem.
Okay,
Here comes knight d6, though.
you can even think about knight c7 to d5 and just even more squares to work with.
He likes it too.
Yeah, and he's also going to take on e2 now.
He's taking e2 next. The knight will come to d5 or stay there for some sort of meetup.
Yeah, this is... Honestly, it's a resignable position at this point, which is sad when it's move 18 and you're also
and again,
up a pawn.
this was a first stage of the game kind of lesson by Aronian.
I thought bishop e4 trapped the queen, but of course it doesn't. There's queen g4, h3 or h5, but some kind of queen e8 check and bishop e4 just...
I think check and bishop d5 hits f7.
Oh, that's...
Oh, he doesn't go for it, but...
He wants the pawn.
Okay, he'll take and then take his time, right? Because even with the move rook b8, these pieces have still not joined the fight.
Yeah, knight e8 actually comes to mind as another possibility. Trying to win that pawn with a... Oh, wow. I think I'm guessing the move right in this game.
Double pawns lead to weaknesses.
Gosh,
And
that bishop on
weaknesses.
c8. Oh, he blunders queen!
And he blunders his queen! First blunder of the match for Levon Aronian.
And he's like still not even dead lost because it's like rook e8 check.
Oh my God, is he gonna come back in this? I mean,
No.
that was freaking nuts.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, this is the first blunder of the match
That was
for Levon Aronian.
And I'm not even sure he's lost here. He's gonna win f6.
How amazing is that? He could still win this game.
I don't.
Dude, he takes f6 and takes f7. Like this is.
What was the situation? He's got
Takes h7. He's got Harry. The rook still has not joined the fight. If you take c4, I'm taking with the bishop. Not letting
bishop
you in.
b7 check.
f3. That's what he'll play. f3, king f2, h4. This is like. I'm saying that because of time. Forget the position. Like, look at the situation, right? He could still win this.
Yeah, time. Take with the bishop. I'm going to go bishop e2, king f2. You're right. You got to do something like that. There it is. Go back. Okay. I don't think I like that move so much.
Wow. Okay, but if Alireza can capitalize here, talk about a momentum shift.
Yeah, this is...
It would be a huge moment in the match if this led to some sort of comeback. And look at a4. This is exactly what you do with the rook. Open up line. So, okay.
It's done. Bishop c2 is always c4.
Yeah.
And this just
here comes Firouzja. Check. He's going to take f7 with check and then play knight e5.
Yep.
Guarding and attacking at the same time.
If he gets g4, g5, f5 in very quickly, there are some outside chances to hold this game, but it doesn't look like it's happening quick enough.
Yeah, well, I don't know. 8 seconds. Knights are tricky. Who would you like in bullet?
I love the knight because
knight.
knights have beaten me before in these kind of positions.
Knight c6.
Oh, I like that.
d4, g5. Let's go.
Take over the dark squares. 1 second. Oh, he barely got that off in time.
Okay, just move the bishop. Okay.
King e3.
Allowing the check. Oh, why did he trade? He should have traded.
Yeah, this is now.
That was not
Bishop
a good
c2
move for Firouzja. Bishop c2,
oh
f5,
my gosh.
f6. White's going to win this game.
Oh my gosh.
Especially with no time.
f5.
That was an absolute mistake.
Just push it.
He should have traded when he had the chance. Here comes knight f5, knight d6.
b5. Knight b5.
Knight b5 does it with tempo, but the same thing. Knight f5 is just as good.
Rook a6 to king e3.
I think knight f5 was better, actually, because you could have gone here. All right, too late.
King Man, bishop g6 is holding just in time.
Yeah, I think knight f5 was the move.
Wait, what was that? Knight d6 check. Why did he move his rook away?
g6.
Oh my gosh.
6 seconds.
I guess that pawn can't push anymore, which is the good news.
If you push king d2, the pawn runs out of squares. Oh my god. Looking at the players on camera.
It's going to be a draw. Which somehow feels like a fair result.
Yeah, given that one player blundered his queen. As long as there's no like mouse slip, tactics here to lose the rook. If black wants to draw, you can just take either minor piece at any moment. But if you blunder a fork, that's how things go wrong. Okay, he decides I'm not even going to risk the situation, plays it out, and we have a draw. Wow.
That was wild.
How often does somebody blunder a one-move fork on f3? Let's back up real quick to the analysis board and just show what happened there, because Levon in complete control in this game. Going to try to back this thing up. In complete control in this game. I have to go so far back to even see the blunder right here. This position has been over for many moves. Just a horrible position for the queen, the king, the pieces on the queen side. Any other move, king g2, rook d1, right? Instead, bishop takes d3, hangs a fork. Get your emotes out. Chess TV, Twitch TV. But guess what? Like, who's better here, right? Look at the position.
It's just unreal.
Unreal. Right? We just saw a one-move queen blunder, a fork on f3, and yet white comes back in this game, instantly winning the queen right back. Absolutely bananas. We continue here in the Speed Chess Championship on Chess.com. If you're one of the 8,000 viewers who's just joining us, hit the follow button. The biggest events in chess happen right here. We've got so many of them going on right now, and the Speed Chess Championship has been a thriller today. Guess what? Right after this, we have Artemiev versus Grishik. It's a doubleheader today. Russians throwing down. Young Russian versus Old Blood. All fighting for pride of the motherland.
I was waiting for you to finish that because you were like, had such a great
Simba, everything the light touches. No, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
it's
there
the
you
Russian Chuck Norris.
He's the Russian Chuck Norris.
Grishuk said that. That's a quote.
Oh, wow.
I'm not making it up.
But seriously, this has been an exciting match. The scoreboard reads with a 7-point advantage for the Armenian, but Alireza Firouzja, known to the fans online as a bullet beast, and we still have the entire bullet segment to come.
Do you see that comment by AVPBOT? Botez invented Botez Gambit. Aronian perfected it.
Sacking the queen. Right. Who will they talk about in the books from years to come with the queen blunder? No, seriously, because the whole point of the Botez Gambit is a blunder.
Yeah.
Aronian just blundered the queen for a borderline victory. Yeah. Right. That's amazing. Seriously, that was good stuff.
Well, Levon's pretty solid with the black piece in this game. After taking on b4, just put his knight on c5. Then the d3 pawn is feeling some heat. The e4 pawn also. And I like what Firouzja has done, generally speaking, about trying to get rid of this knight on f6 and take over the d5 square. But here it feels like potentially a move too slow. Although, actually, you can take on f6 and play knight d5 because knight c7 fork is available in many variations.
Mm-hmm. He'll go for... Oh, okay, he doesn't defends it first.
He'll go fork it?
But he'll go fork it. The d5 square wants to go fork it on c7. And in chess, we refer to a fork as a move that attacks two pieces at once. That is completely appropriate referencing. There you go. A double attack fork. refers to exactly the family-friendly type of forking.
Yeah.
And
I'd love some pasta. So if
let's go with it.
Start with the fork, get me the pasta, we're all good.
Queen to b6 is coming, followed by knight to d5, and everybody's happy.
Okay, so instead we get an endgame. The knight is still coming to d5, but there's just not enough pieces left, right? You know, you take on f6, you double the pawns, not that big a deal.
d4 is coming if you trade on f6, and probably we're looking at our third consecutive peaceful result. So if you're just joining us, we had 13 straight decisive games in this match, and now we've had 2 draws in a row.
And working our way towards a third.
Yep.
And maybe those are 13 straight draws.
Wouldn't that be funny? It would be a bad sign for Alireza, who needs more than a peaceful result to make a comeback here.
Because he only has about 2 3-minute games left. With the time as such, the timer is at 8 minutes and 35 seconds and counting down.
Yep.
So he only got a couple of these games left, which maybe makes him happy because he wants to get the bullet, but he needs a victory somewhere.
Only 8 minutes left in the 3-minute plus 1 second portion. If you're just joining us, this is the middle segment. Remind you real quick of the Speed Chess Championship format. If you're one of our new viewers, this is the most exciting event, I would say, in chess, but certainly in online chess. It is the opportunity for the world's elite to play in the Speed Chess Championship. 90 minutes of 5-minute plus 1 second increment. 1 second is added to the clock on every move. Then you have 60 minutes of 3 plus 1, which is the segment we're in now, followed by bullet chess, which is yet to come. So don't go anywhere. Stick around. Hit the follow button. We got a lot of chess left today.
And Levon is somehow up a pawn, right? Like in this position.
Yeah, but I mean,
the knight is coming to f5.
Not the kind of pawns you're happy about.
Yeah, but I'd rather be up the pawn than down one.
Okay, fair.
The knight can go to e6 and into f4. Rook d2 stuff is coming. I'm not saying white is lost, because white certainly is not even close to losing, because there's a lot of stuff with the rook b8, knight f5. Oh my god.
Same idea, kind of. But knight b3 also blocks the rook's gaze, right? So he wants to bring the knight into a more useful position, but also keep the rook at bay.
Oh, he missed that, because now knight takes d6 and knight f3
takes
check.
f3 check. That's a discovery and wins the knight, so the knight has to back up. But here comes Robert's plan. The knight wants to make the long journey to f4.
Maybe black can try for f5 at some point too. It's like you have many options here. King h6 to go king g5. Why not bring my king forward?
h6, king g5. It's funny when you were first talking about the pawn. I thought it was the
king h6, rook b8, king g5, maybe rook g8 check.
Oh my God, what a mate! If king takes h4, g3 is checkmate. That's how you beat yourself.
Yep.
Right there. Don't walk your king into a checkmate, but. And again, he goes back to b3, partly to keep the idea of the rook not joining the fight. He's blocking the rook's gaze. I like it just from a practical perspective, just to keep the stranglehold over the position, especially as we now near time pressure, only 20 seconds for white, 56 seconds for black.
Yeah, bring that king up. Come on, bring that king to g5.
Bring it up, buttercup. I like it. Why do you build me up?
To let you down?
Mess me around.
The worst of all.
You haven't called me baby when you said you will.
But I love you still.
All right, king g6, king g5. Let's do it, though. The knight on f5 is where you want to be, and Levon has actually lost his threat of knight. Wait, now knight takes d6 is a thing.
Yeah, but he's going to trade into the rook endgame and say, yeah.
A draw, right.
Going for 13 in a row.
Only 5 minutes remain here in the 3-minute portion. From a practical point of view, Firouzja welcoming bullet at this point. He needs the faster time control to have a chance to get some more blunders out of Aronian. Aronian has made 1 blunder today that I can count.
Hanging the queen.
And he didn't even lose the game.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's been pretty on point.
Yep.
All right, well, this f7 pawn's in some trouble here. So king g6. Just bring that king up.
8 seconds for Firouzja. Here we go.
Whoa.
The check is on. Knight h6 check, and then... Okay, rook takes f6 first. Hits
rook e6 now?
e4. Okay, the only question is whether there's some sort of outside mating.
King f6, nice.
Okay, and now the draw will
You thought he blundered the knight? You reacted very strongly.
I didn't let out the... I just went...
Yeah.
No noise.
I felt you jump, you know?
A lot of people saw this and were like, is the mute
button
button
this
on?
Is trouble. This is trouble. There's only 1 pawn there. If you lose that h pawn...
But only... Ooh, the pin. And there's only 2 seconds, though, for Firouzja.
But he, he's a bullet
beast.
Yeah,
this is where blunders happen.
King f4. Knight
King
e5 check
f4, knight. These are the kind of positions
95.
that Farrugia's been waiting to get.
Rook up. Rook is heading into
the scramble. Knight G5. Try to get the pieces off the board.
Watch out for Rook takes. Okay, he moves Rook.
Yep.
Good. You had to move that.
Yeah, but this is what Firouzja wants to be. This is Aronian's first true test, right, where Firouzja has pushed him in a time scramble.
Yep. And this is the second to last game of this time segment.
Knight G5 check. Ooh, but then G3 and H5 falls.
Nice.
King moves and he's got G3 and he loses on time because of it. Oh my gosh.
Huge victory.
Huge victory for Firouzja. Brings it to within 6 games. We have one more game and Aronian taking a call saying, I can't talk to you right now, Mom. What are you doing? I'm playing chess on Twitch. Actually, wait a second. He's calling me. Hey, Levon. Hey, dude, you got to focus. Okay, thanks. Bye. Handled it, everybody. Don't you worry. Okay, the next game will begin here in just a moment. While we're waiting for that, let me show everybody why this one was an end in a loss on time. Okay, I'll bring up the analysis board to show you.
JRM says 1H. He's calling his clock and asking for more time.
Classic. The point was, no matter where the king moves, G3 is coming next, and H5 falls. So that fact had him lose on time, and with it, Firouzja gets a much, much needed victory. We have the last game of the 3-minute portion starting, assuming that we don't see any quick losses.
Firouzja in the chat there.
What's he throwing at?
I don't think he was happy that the game didn't start immediately. That's what it seemed like.
Okay. Well, sometimes that happens. But I think that Firouzja, looking to make a comeback, wants as much time as possible. So we like the fire. For sure.
He didn't start the fire.
I'm going to put it out.
Okay. Just want to make sure you knew it was always burning.
There's 9,000 of you with us. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the big show, as they call it, the Speed Chess Championship on Chess.com, twitch.tv/chess, wherever you may be. Thanks for making us a part of your day. That's something that I hear them say on the radio a lot.
Well, Levon Aronian is making this a great chess day because he's up 11-5.
Yep.
He's had some amazing games. That end game that I called one of the best games in Speed Chess Championship history.
Yep.
And you're right. There's some reason
if you
to bias
missed it, back it up.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal game. And right now with the white pieces, he's doing what he's done all day. Take up space, make Firouzja's life difficult in order to get counterplay. And you just look at these knights on f6 and e7, and usually the question you ask yourself is, where do they belong? What's my dream square? And I don't see one right now for either of these knights. It's not like White's bishop on c3 is that great, but if I can protect e4 and play for d4 and just blast open the diagonal for my bishop, that goes to show the power of having a bishop when your opponent does not have one. And so c5 is a way to just stop that.
Yeah,
right? So
put the kibosh on it. Don't let you open the position for the bishop. Shout out to Diamond member E. Lindauer in the Chess.com TV chat. That's an old school member. What's up, Eric? Queen d7, the d3 pawn now falling. You have to play knight b3 with tempo because just defending it, okay. That gives time for more pressure, but I guess knight b3 is just met by b6 anyway.
And the reason you really don't like playing rook to e3 is you want your knight on that square. You really want to play knight e3 to d5 because you look.
Yeah, but that's why he did that.
Exactly.
Here comes the other route.
Yep. Here comes knight b1. Oh, knight b1 works. Actually, no, it doesn't. Knight b1 would have been met by knight takes e4.
Let me show it. Knight b1, knight takes e4.
There's a pin down the d5. You take with the rook, f5 comes in, and that's a problem.
Oh, that's a pin to the king.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, well, Levon back up on the clock where he wants to be.
Oh, here comes that knight, though. Knight c3 to d5.
Yep.
Just throw that pony in there.
Wants to bring the knight.
Yeah. Just trying to bring the knight in.
Yep.
And, gotcha. So
the knight wants to come to d5. This knight wants to help for the attack on h3, and everyone's happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what is black going to do? Where's the counterplay? You attacked h3. It's protected now.
Right.
Then what?
Why do you ask me such tough questions? I want knight d5 and f4. I want to play white here. You play black.
I'm out of ideas. But f5, f4 is clearly a good one.
Levon is bouncing around there. Pawn check, leave him alone. Adorable little dog.
We want to see pawn check.
Yeah, we do. F5, okay, you were asking where the plan is coming. That's counterplay, and if you can switch things back to the F file, you've got a weakness on F2 to attack.
How's white going to deal with this? Because you didn't want to take on F5. lessens your clamp on the d5 square,
Mm-hmm.
so that now if you put a knight on d5, black can challenge that knight there and try to kick it out. But yeah, the queen on f1. Okay, what's the e4?
I like that move, though. Overprotect. You're trying to get rid of black's probably best attacker here. And if the trade happens, the bishop still has a target on e5. So you can take back with either rook or pawn. I actually kind of like taking with the rook.
But the rook takes d3.
No. You're going to take and take f2?
And then take b2.
You dirty dog.
I don't know how good it is or not, but
That was exciting. Let's
certainly an
show it
option.
on the analysis board. To the back cave we shoust. Rook takes d3. Queen takes d3. Queen takes f2 check, and taking here wins 2 pawns and a bishop for the exchange. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Especially with the open king and the fact that you finished the line with a tempo. That wasn't seen by either player. That's Grandmaster Robert Hess dropping the tactics.
You know, sacrificing other people's pieces. It's my forte.
That was your nickname in high school.
It's a pretty good one.
Sacrifices other people's pieces, Bob.
Definitely not that. So,
All right.
but the d3 pawn is a weakness. So rook d7, you know, or queen f3 first makes
Okay, now
sense.
you got to guard it. If white has time, you just want to coordinate some sort of defensive f2 and to get e5.
Yeah, queen e2 to trade queens off does make a good
Right.
deal of sense.
Get the queen out or head to the endgame.
Can you take e5 now?
It's a pawn, right?
Maybe just rook to d8.
You can also play rook e3 with tempo, then double on the e file.
It's true. Very true. I guess
But he's got to be calculating whether he can take e5. Wow, he retreats
wait,
and
what?
moves away.
rook to d8.
What in
What's
the
the point of
world?
that?
Oh, you know what he wants? He wants rook g4 next. And if the knight moves, he has bishop takes h6.
Yeah, but let's go king h7. That was a weird
Yeah,
decision.
bishop c1. Okay, if that didn't work, what was the point of putting the bishop here?
You're asking the wrong
Okay.
person. Actually, I have no idea. Now white is very stuck.
c4. That's what's coming. It's dynamite.
No.
Can I retire now?
Yep, please.
I-
But d4
That might
for
have been
white.
it. c4.
D4 for white.
And boom goes the dynamite. That felt pretty good to me. So.
There's d4.
d4, right back at you, right? Opening up c4 for explosive measures against the black king. The puns continue.
You're testing me.
Ba-dum-bum. Actually, it's not a joke. Take c4 with check. Double on the d file.
Yep.
This pawn's going to fall.
But
Actually,
knight e5's coming.
oh, that's a fork.
That's a big problem, actually. So what do you do here? Rook b3, just trying to cover the f3
Yeah, but
square.
here comes knight e5 anyway.
and then
f3.
d3 is coming. Oof.
This check. 13 seconds. This is turned around. Could we be headed to bullet with 2 wins in a row for Firouzja?
I think we are.
That's going to be only a 5-game lead. Now, you said it needed to be 4. He's putting himself within range in bullet. That's what he's trying to do here.
Okay, so can you take an
Knight
h4?
takes h4. Nice move. Here comes f4.
Take d3.
Yeah, but queen takes h4 with check.
Oh,
and there's
queen e4 check.
and then
too.
some
It's
sort of wiggle,
everything's
wiggle jiggle
yeah,
to win the rook.
Just queen e4 check right away wins it.
Ah, queen e4 check, but that now rook f3.
Rook f3, you're right.
Okay, he's holding.
But queen e4 check now is coming.
That's going to be enough.
Yep.
And he resigns. And we have a match, ladies and gentlemen. I know what you're thinking. Dan, don't try to sell us false profit here. It's a 5-game lead for Levon Aronian, but you're about to see Alireza Firouzja, one of the best bullet players on the planet, take on 30 minutes of the fastest segment with his chance to make a comeback. 9,000 viewers are here. All of you will be here when we get back because I'm watching you. We'll be back in just a few moments.
A premium membership at Chess.com will help you improve your game with full access to a powerful set of learning tools. Unlimited tactics let you practice like a master, with more than 50,000 puzzles to challenge you at every level. Our library of interactive chess lessons, created by master coaches, will enhance every aspect of your game. And after each game you play, the computer analysis feature will give you feedback on every move you played, turning every game into a chance to learn. And that's not all. Premium benefits also include unlimited tournaments, video lessons, the Opening Explorer, and much, much more. Upgrade now to take your game to the next level.
While Levon Aronian may have just ended the 2 blitz portions of the Speed Chess Championship match, 1 point higher actually than Hikaru Nakamura now in blitz ratings on Chess.com. The question is, will the light come on for Alireza in the bullet portion?
I was waiting for you to turn that light on, and I think that it absolutely will. But a lot of people here are used to seeing Firouzja. I give him a
Alifo.
I shorten his name. Alireza Firouzja dominate on Chess.com in bullet, but there is that 1 second increment. So after every single move, Levon Aronian will gain a second on the clock if he moves instantly, and thus I think that his chances of maintaining his lead are quite huge.
Well, he's got 5 points to sort of keep the comeback from happening. He's favored in bullet according to the Smarter Chess predictions, but you and I both were pretty questioning of that, right, heading into this match here. We were looking at that, a 6-4 potential lead for Levon Aronian as far as predictions go, have me wanting to put Smarter Chess, as he's active in chat, in check here. So what do we even think about that?
Yeah, I just think that it's a rating thing, right?
Right.
Levon Aronian is the higher-rated player in Classical. He is the higher-rated in FIDE Blitz. But the issue is that Alireza doesn't have that many terms to play in terms of FIDE-rated Blitz events. So his FIDE Blitz rating is low, relatively speaking. Levon Aronian is a beast, but Alireza has proved in the last World Blitz Championship that he is an absolute force in that time control.
Yeah, and he'll have a chance to do it today, obviously. He's ranked 11th by those standards, as you said. The algorithm, all the different places we look to kind of see how we predict these players to perform. But I think that the gloves are coming off here. All the talk will not matter here in just a few moments. We're going to find out, I think, pretty quickly whether Alireza can make some strides, give us a comeback, or whether the 1 second increment will help the person maintain his lead, that being Levon Aronian. So games are about to begin here. I believe so. Bullet will commence shortly, and we're gonna have liftoff here.
I'm putting a lot on this first game here.
Yeah,
because
a tone setter. Because I think it's just psychologically, emotionally too. It's going to be a big question for Levon, right? If he loses that first game, does that become a landslide?
And it would be his 3rd straight loss because he lost the final 2 games of the 3-minute portion there, and Alireza actually tied in the 3+1 time segment. So right now with the white pieces, Alireza going for the Spanish.
Okay.
And we'll see how this takes off, because I think with Aronian's familiarity in these openings, he'll be okay. He'll be able to speed through the opening stages.
Yep.
But if Alireza can get an advantage on the clock, that will be huge.
He's got 3 seconds on the clock right now, 1 minute and 1 second. He has more time than he started with. Again, remind everybody that's because you get a 1 second added to your total time with every move. That is what the 1+1 language means for chess. And the opening itself, not bad for black though, right? I mean, this looks pretty good for Levon. Centralized queen, open d-file to hit a target, well coordinated, and now because of that, we already see the time advantage shifting the other way.
But here white can play b4, a4. Like, there still are opportunities to expand.
For sure, right?
And he plays this way with bishop e3, maybe put the knight on c5 right now, and queen c8, but then bishop b3 check. Now that he played f5, it's a very risky move.
Yeah, f5 is the kind of double-edged move that you got to be really, really careful about. f5, f4, is he going to try to bring the bishop into the diagonal? This is going to be tough.
Yeah, it looks a little strange, honestly. Because now a move like queen f3.
Or what about queen f7, threatening bishop h5 and try to induce f3?
Right, I wanted to go queen f3 so I could spy on your knight on c6 to keep the queen honest. But a4 makes a lot of sense. You can follow up b4 now. He's just gaining space on the queen side. And whoa, that's a pawn sack.
Time pretty close to equal, though. Levon with a small edge. The increment is just going to be the real teller here, because so many of us know what Alireza is capable of when the time is going off the clock. But with the 1 second increment,
Yeah, I kind of like the move a5. I'm not sure if it actually pans out, but a move like a5, there it is. To follow with bishop to a4, pinning the knight on c6. Rook b5 is an option, but then you could take on b4. So now he traps that bishop
yeah,
on
I like
b1.
this. I like this for black. Up 5 seconds on the clock as well.
Yeah,
a5 is falling.
Things have definitely taken a turn for the worse for Alireza Firouzja here.
And it's hard to even change the structure here because black is controlling more pressure over every center square, both d4 and e4.
Well, d4 actually is a good move right now.
Could have been.
I thought so, but
Maybe because of the back rank tactics, I see.
yeah.
Okay.
And he's going after that b3 pawn.
But if black gets the rook to d8, the d3 pawn will fall.
That's true. But e5 is then hanging. There's a
5
lot
seconds,
going on here.
4 seconds.
Play bishop b4.
Got to play quickly.
Queen c1.
Now he's going to lose d3. What's he going for here?
Okay, he's going
Some sort of trade of d3 for e5, but
But
d1's a problem in the end.
Yeah, this is just...
Yeah, falling apart here. The wheels are coming off. Knight takes c4 about to be played.
Yeah, but then rook e4, so that's what he's
Okay,
going
so
for.
he backs up instead.
So he's still...
Still
Yeah.
almost in the game, but no, with 15 seconds, here comes f3.
Ooh, bishop takes e5.
Yeah, but f3's coming, and the white king is going to be blown open.
Yeah, that move rook b4 is really nice. Just pushing the queen back.
Prepared to switch over to this side of the board.
Yep.
Super dangerous. Queen takes h3, threatens rook g4. That check is but a spite. Here comes rook g4, and it's over.
So
Okay, you can trade and play queen f3, double attacks. Oh, rook g3!
and he won on time.
He won on time?
No, he resigned.
But what? Oh, because after takes, there was queen f3
F3,
check. Queen
yeah.
f3. Oh my god, I thought he was flagging him. That's why we both
Yeah.
assumed. That's what we let's
Because that was such a quick resignation.
Yeah, that was such a quick resignation. Rook g3 was played because the rook will fall. We'll show it real quick on the analysis board because if it shocked both me and Robert, I'm going to guess that everyone else. When Rook g3 was played and Alireza lost, we assumed it was one of those getting your opponent to flag moves, but actually it's a very good move because no matter where the king goes here, the queen will go to f3 with check, pick up the rook, and black is just dominating, and the queen ending up more pawns than we can count. So there you have it. Okay, that is indeed why Levon Aronian strikes first. Now, you said, Robert, the first game in the bullet portion would be huge. Levon Aronian wins, stretches the lead back to 6 games, and I think 11,500 people can kind of see the writing on the wall here for the young man from Iran. It's now or never. Mathematically, time to start winning chess games.
That not only did Levon win that game, it took 4 minutes off the timer. So not that much time remaining for Firouzja. He needs to win like all of the remaining games.
That's like us saying, in order to win games, you got to play better and faster than your opponent. Right? Like he needs to start winning a lot of games here to come back. F4.
So just take en passant probably. Put your
Look
knight.
at the English opening Levon is stuck with. We definitely got to ask him about this in the interviews.
It's worked really well for him. Ooh, G4.
G4.
G5
owie.
next is a
Look
mate on
how
G7.
strong this is. You can't take on G4 because it's mate on G7, everyone. And no matter where the bishop goes, the pawn goes to G5 and forces the knight away. Alireza's hand is forced to sacrifice a piece. And Levon Aronian flexing.
Just rook F2. Protect that against that checkmate.
Everything's defended, showing that the bullet portion, Alireza may be known, right? But Levon Aronian is performing very well right now.
Even knight H4 here for like rook G1 is a good move.
Oh, how sick is that? I love it.
Yeah, knight G4 is actually quite a good move.
If knight H4, knight takes, rook to G1, the queen goes to H6, and then you play queen takes F6, and everything is pinned on the G file.
Yep. He chooses this route, but okay. This also rook G1 now is also very good. There it is.
Trying to overprotect F6, but white is just up a piece. Firouzja frustrated, given a smile of just, hey, this guy's pretty good. He's finding all the right moves in all the right places. Thank you, One Republic.
That was good.
Don't miss F7.
Nope, he's got to defend. Okay, he's getting made in the back rank first, because otherwise queen H2 or queen D1 would deliver.
But the check is good. Oh, wait.
Oh,
What?
rook D1! Rook D1!
Rook D1.
That was rook G1.
Oh, he's okay. Rook D1, king G2, queen E2 was mate. That's why we
Yeah.
were freaking out. Freaking to freak out, but no, it's nothing. Rook G1, white is still in control here. And, in fact, okay, very nice. Bishop takes F6. Just look at him. He's playing with his food right now. I thought his mom taught him better.
He's getting greedy over there.
Takes. There's going to be checks, but not going to be enough to pick back the piece.
Yeah, and even if it's a draw.
Oh, wait, Queen H3.
Yeah, you're
won
down.
the knight.
Still down a pawn.
Okay, he's going to play King H3 and Queen H4.
What? How do you?
I think
didn't give him a
Firouzja pre-moved Queen D1.
Got it. I was
Thinking it was a check. So, okay, wait a second. He's come back here. He won the knight. Not the best technique for Aronian, but one of the things that's really bad is the amount of time that's going off the clock here.
Right.
Only 22 minutes remain in the match.
and he's down 2 pawns now. Okay, I'll get the A2 pawn, but he's down a pawn and a queen ending where Levon has 9.8 seconds, now over 10. He's moving too quickly.
Levon has no problem milking this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Get as much time off the total clock as you can. Remember, everybody, that's what makes the Speed Chess Championship a little different. More gamesmanship.
It's actually really bad news because he's going to play this out for another 50 moves.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yep. Just bad news for Alireza because there's no forcing draw at this point, so he's just going to waste time. And it's not even wasting time. He is up a pawn.
He's up a pawn. He has every right to
might
push
win
on
this
and
game.
win. And if he takes another 2 minutes off the clock and wins,
Oh, gosh.
that would be the worst thing possible. While he continues to dance his king around for checks, let's remind everybody that we have a double header today, meaning right after this match, regardless of what you're seeing right now, we will be joined by two very, very strong chess players from Russia, Vladislav Artemiev versus Alexander Grishuk. It's anybody's pick 'em in this one. Robert and I have disagreed on who we actually think the favorite is in this match. We're not going to tell you who that is till that match begins, but stick around because we have 8 hours of chess today. And after this match, we have our next Speed Chess Championship right away.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a fun day. And we already have had a lot of fun in this match between Aronian and Firouzja. But right now, look at Levon.
Right now, Firouzja's not having any fun.
No. Yeah, it's not fun when your opponent is just kind of outplaying
I told him
you.
his mom didn't teach. He's playing with his food here. He's just poking, prodding, torturing. Match strategy would suggest that it's a good idea to get as much time off the clock as he can. Look at that with Queen D4.
Yep.
Oh, it takes away all the checks. What a nice move.
Here
Now
comes
the king
King
can run
C6.
back in.
King D7.
King D7 or D6.
Yep.
There's no checks.
I almost saw King E7. There's no checks at the
Oh,
King E7.
King E7. There was Queen A3 check.
But now Queen D6.
Oh, my gosh. That would have been nasty.
Yep.
Everyone, if the king gets to E7,
Here
you're
it
fighting
comes.
Queen F6. Here he goes. He's going to see it.
King E7.
Oh, he missed it again.
Queen C6. Okay, he's
Okay,
still.
he can get the queen. He can get the king here.
Nice,
No, just
B7.
blocking it. Here comes B7. Alireza's going to lose, and with it, so much time just came off the clock. That was Speed Chess Championship experience there from Levon Aronian.
His technique has been great.
I mean, this has been. I know that he was the favorite in the match.
Yeah.
But this has been some of the best speed chess we've ever seen Levon play on our site.
Yeah.
And he has played in all 3 years of the Speed Chess Championship. He's played in the Bullet Chess Championship. This has been some very high quality.
Yeah, there was
chess
obviously
moves.
blunders in that game where he was completely winning, and
And
then
even that
things-
game he didn't lose.
You know, but I mean, in that last game, like he was up a piece,
Okay.
things got tricky.
Yep.
But his end game technique, when he was up that pawn, he was just pushing his king forward. Yeah, he allowed some checks. He went F5, went E4, cemented the black pawns, and just won a nice queen ending there.
Yeah, I think Smarter Chess, jokes aside, we love Matt. It's a fun debate we have. Shout out to Grandmaster Indian Lad playing Guess the Move on Chess.com, by the way.
And not even winning.
Not even winning. Horace Slughorn,
No.
Harry Potter characters, always steal my thunder.
The professor's back.
The professor's back. But no, Smarter Chess, I agree. I think Levon Aronian has gotten better with every Speed Chess Championship match. For those of you who know the full history, in the first ever event we did, he lost to Alexander Grishuk in a thriller.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, that was a thrilling match. And he's gotten better every year since then. And yeah, so really impressive to see right now putting on a show for us with a 7-game lead over Alireza Firouzja.
Yep. Just playing excellent chess. He's having a lot of fun doing it. And we'll, get to hear his thoughts afterwards. But, for all the Firouzja fans out there, it's just a tough matchup for him.
Yeah. I mean, Levon Aronian is the stronger player, and we talk about that in these formats. And I think making the 70-30 prediction look a little bit smarter than it did previously.
But we've, you and I have talked about it. We both thought that Levon was the favorite. I know Hikaru said that Firouzja was the favorite. I think that's what he said yesterday. Or
That might be more online chess than other top grandmasters have, speaking for Hikaru's bias there, because I think he's definitely thrown down against Firouzja,
yeah,
but it's always forgotten how much the increment changes the game. This is serious chess. This is
Yeah.
chess moves matter. This is not just flagging.
Yep.
You know? And I think it shows that the stronger players are able to keep up even in time scrambles. So, Aronian right now, down on the clock for the first time really since we've been in the bullet portion.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen that.
Yep.
And he's trying to figure out where to move his queen, because queen b2 is inviting bishop d4, winning the knight on e5. So it's kind of an awkward spot. He goes queen e2. Wow, there are a lot of... I'm like
Whoa.
looking at there's so many pieces on the e5. Queen takes e8. There's queen takes e1.
Rook takes e2. There's rook takes e4.
Exactly. So whatever you do, I'll do too. That's
What a
he's saying.
move right there. Knight d3.
Yep. And... Oh, another pin!
Too many pins. He's going to sack the queen for 2 rooks. But watch out. These 2 rooks and a knight are going to have dangerous things in store for the king.
Oh, that d pawn... I was about to call it d6
Yeah,
pawn.
who's better, right? I don't know. I mean, I think that the d6 pawn should be good for Firouzja. Will he get his first bullet win?
And knight d3 can come at any moment. Here
He
it
does
is.
it.
But bishop b6. Nice move.
Okay, there's rook c1. That was a mouse slip, right? Must
Yeah.
have been a mouse slip. I was going to say.
You know what's awesome about Levon?
He didn't even show any emotion.
Yeah, like...
Rook c7, it was like, oops.
But
Right.
it wasn't even like, oops. It was just like,
Yep.
he's watching a movie and he's so enthralled.
Right.
But he hasn't changed his face once.
Something like a small plot twist. Like,
Yeah.
oh, didn't see that coming. The movie's still going. Shout out to the bits and the subs, all of you viewers and the premium members at Chess.com. Thank you for being here. Seriously, we do it for you, and we appreciate you tuning in. All right. We've got another English, this time King's Indian defense, kind of fianchetto transposition. But once again, an edge for white. Levon Aronian sticking with openings that he feels he can flex his transpositional experience.
Yeah, it seems very nice for white. You have
Yep.
more space. Your bishop on g2 is better than bishop on d7. You can play for e4 if you'd like. You don't even have to, but you can choose to. And just expand. And queen f4
Yep.
is a similar idea. You're getting your queen to a more advanced square. And I guess b4 here is meant by a3, just to separate the a2 pawn from the b4 pawn. Oh, he chose not to.
Well, right now you've got the tempo on the knight. You can play a3 if you're white if you want to stop it. I'm not sure that a3 is that effective. I guess the bishop can sit. Ooh, wow.
He wants to
Bishop
go
A3.
b5, I guess.
b5 and d6 a problem.
Oh, but that knight on c3 is also a problem.
There's also knight e4 coming, and if bishop e5, queen h6, followed by knight g5. No, okay. I wanted it.
You want it all. You were getting super
Yeah,
aggressive
but
there.
that was getting a little too frisky there.
I enjoyed it. So is f4 an idea for white? Just to kick that bishop?
f4, kick the bishop, and d6 falls. Because of that, Firouzja has to attack the knight.
Yep. And now where does that knight go?
Goes
Alright.
to g5 anyway.
All right, safe there. e4, now another threat for white, just to hit that bishop on f5.
Yeah, there's also c5 now that there's a tempo to be gained.
It's true.
And he goes for it.
So
I
you
like it.
take and then play knight c4,
Yeah.
because the knight on g5 is also hanging.
Yeah, this would overwhelm the queen. If you take c4, the g5 knight hangs.
There it is.
Okay, but there's so many weird things going on here. If you take g5, do I have f4? Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think he did, and he does.
But a3's hanging.
And h3's hanging.
Yeah.
Was bishop takes h3 even better?
You could have taken h3
Oh
first.
my gosh, bishop takes h3 would have been even better for Firouzja.
But he just wanted to gobble up the material. He's going to take this one.
I mean,
Bishop
he
e6.
might regret it, though.
Just bishop e6 and take on a2.
Okay, I agree. Good enough. All right. Yeah, I think bishop takes h3 was better, but looks like black should be able to take. How you like them apples on the a file. Here comes a new queen.
Yeah, a3, queen b2, a2. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Just don't blunder any bishop takes g6 stuff. That's the one thing you have. King f2.
Yeah.
Trading
But
queens.
everything's falling. Okay.
Yep.
Levon not going to resign. No reason to, right? More time coming off the clock with only 14 minutes remaining. At this point, Aronian is in good shape to move on to the second round, the quarterfinals as it would be for the 2019 Speed Chess Championship. Despite losing that game, he still has a 5-game lead. Not mathematically over. Okay, so we shouldn't call it yet. We've seen crazier things.
I honestly think it was a mistake for him to resign.
Yeah, get more time off the clock. He could have
Yeah.
taken another 30, 45 seconds easily.
Yeah. Just play, right? Just make moves. You're going to lose anyway, right? That's
Right.
the thing. And people always ask this question, those who are not that familiar with chess. They say,
Right.
why do people give up? Why do they resign?
Right.
And in most cases, the result is without a doubt, you're going to lose. So you give up. And he was going to lose no matter what. But in this particular instance, with a timer counting down, you should always play it out when you have a lead on the scoreboard.
No, totally fair. And I think the only thing that he would argue against that is if he psychologically feels in such a good place, he's just playing chess right now. He
Yeah.
doesn't even want to think about the gamesmanship, just wants to continue to do what he's done most of the day, outplay his young opponent. Right? I think there is something to be said for that, right?
I
Just
agree.
keeping yourself focused in the moment psychologically, but you're totally right. And getting more time off the clock is just like an insurance policy to make sure you're going to win, right?
Yep.
Here comes H4, H5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Firouzja wins another game here. It's 4 games with probably about 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so he
Okay,
has
it's
an
not
outside
over.
shot.
Not over, yeah.
Is G4 coming?
I want it. If he doesn't, I'm going to throw the emote. Give me the emote. Let me throw the emote.
I feel like you kind of have to.
Whoa!
Whoa!
What did he do?
F5 was the response.
Oh my
as he-
gosh! Oh my gosh! And we have a bunch of gifted subs. Everybody's happy.
This-
Everyone's supporting chess. It's happening. G4. G4.
This is a crazy position. I thought he was going to take on H5 because you couldn't take on F3 as queen takes G6 check. The queen is stuck, protecting the G6 square.
Wow.
I don't even know what to make
Time
of
is
this game.
ticking. Who's going to get an attack here?
Both sides. Knight D4.
F2, G6,
What about Knight D4 here?
Knight D4.
Or Knight E. No,
You
Knight
can't
E5
play
doesn't
Knight
work.
E5. You shush your mouth when you're talking chess to me. I'm just kidding. You can keep talking.
Yeah, Knight D4 looks good though. Queen F2.
Queen F2 is check, but then Queen
But
G6
yeah.
is check. What in the world? Queen F2 would have taken H4 with check too, though. What was happening?
No,
there?
you couldn't take H. Your king would go to H3.
Oh, I was thinking you went King H1. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Now you got to guard G6
And
with
now-
your life
But then there's a
H5
discovery
comes.
on the bishop on D4 as well.
H5 and
It's 5 seconds for Levon.
6
Bishop takes
seconds,
G6.
20
Take that.
seconds for Firouzja.
Take that pawn.
This is how the comeback happens. If Firouzja gets another victory here.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Laughing in the face of the discovered check.
Because you
That's
can't
what
go.
dreams are made of. What a move. He's just laughing at the checks. He's got to play Rook D7 to guard the mate.
And now, how do you continue this? Bishop E4
There's a threat
now.
of Rook G7.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Rook
worried about.
G7 check is coming.
But King H1
Yeah, but oh my gosh, the
and Bishop
attack.
D5 check is
If
going to
King F1, Queen takes E4. That's what he didn't see.
What? What? This pawn takes E4.
No, the pawn was pinned if King F1.
No, it's a King H1.
Oh, okay. I was saying if King F1. Whoa, he
Yeah.
just made it himself.
Yeah.
Rook F7.
Well, he was getting mated anyway.
Bishop D5 check was just
Yeah.
made.
You scared me so many
Well,
times
you
there.
scared me.
I said King H1, and you went King F1.
I was talking about King F1 to provide an instructive point. We have 12,500 viewers maybe about to witness the greatest comeback in Speed Chess Championship history. If you're just joining us, at one point the lead was 8 games
Yeah.
for Levon Aronian. It is now 4 games with 10 minutes left. Pretty tough mathematically because the time continues to tick.
Yep.
But if we were ever going to see a matchup where we know we have an amazing bullet player, Alireza Firouzja, right, versus a stronger player, emotional things happen. Tilt is real, right?
Yep. And Alireza at some point just needs to play instantly. Because
Yep.
as you're talking about the time situation, 10 minutes left in the match,
Yep.
with the 1 second increment, you get a 60-move game, right? That's
Yep.
adding a couple minutes to the clock. So you really have to move instantly if you're Firouzja, and you have to win.
But you also have to keep winning,
Yeah.
right? So the problem, I mean, if he needs to take his time to find the best moves, he has to do that too,
Right.
right? A single loss, it's over.
Yep.
Right? A draw with a couple minutes off, it's almost the same thing, right? So at this point, it's win or go home quite literally. And
I feel like it's a pretty low-scoring match. It's over 22 games. We've had a bunch of long games.
yeah, I don't know. We've done a lot of SCC matches. Usually, we can say the average SCC match is about 28 games.
Okay.
So it's not that
We're
low.
6 games off.
Yeah. But there's still a couple more to be played.
Yeah, I think
Right.
we'll end up right around 25.
By the way, I just totally made up that stat. If someone wants to confirm that the average games are about 28, but I've done a lot of these, and I think that's right.
Yeah.
You have too, but, H4. What in the world? G3. Here
What
comes
is happening
mate on
here?
H2. Oh, but you can't move the knight. That's a dark square problem. Jay-Z wrote a song about that. Look at that.
Yep, but you can go King H7, Rook G8, and then move the knight, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Takes a while.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Also, you
right?
can... Whoa.
Whoa, knight F3?
I love it.
He's going to take with the rook and take G3 for
I
the
love
attack.
it.
That's how you do it. That's the practical chess turning around. He wants E4 next.
But the queen h4 is not hanging.
I
'cause
like
you're right.
e4. I like e4. Oh, but look at the Firouzja's playing well.
Yep.
He's playing
Wait.
well. Here comes queen takes h4.
Queen takes e2. Queen takes
Queen
e2.
takes e2.
There it is.
He found it.
There it is. That is a huge tactic because after
8 minutes remain if he wins this game.
Oh my gosh! And you have to just play on. I think if you are Levon.
Keep playing and find yourself, right?
You don't
Boy,
want
if
to
you
lose
would have
yourself.
been right for calling him out for resigning that game a few games ago, that
He
would
shouldn't
be,
have resigned.
That would be nuts. 1 second. He's losing on time. He had no moves.
So it's just under 8 minutes.
Just under 8 minutes with a 3-game lead for Levon Aronian.
Yep.
The tilt is real right now for the Armenian, who, again, if you're just joining us, at one point had an 8-game lead in this match. That is down to 3. As far as the bullet chess goes, we have a 2-game advantage right now for the young 16-year-old from Iran. You can see the scoreboards there right beneath the player cams if you're wondering.
You can also see the average match is 28.1 games.
If you're wondering whether this is winnable, it is. Young Christoph Duda was down 2 games against Sasha Grishuk last year with 6 minutes to go.
Yep.
And he won. He won all the games that remained, and they didn't even need overtime. He won as the match expired. At some point here, we'll remind you of what happens if we go to overtime. But for now, let's stay focused until we can talk about that. But overtime is a thing, and we do have some information to share with you on that if it happens.
But this is not – I don't think this is the position that Alireza wanted. After several straight victories, he's in this position where you have to really work to win a position like this.
Yeah.
As black, you're covering well, I just thought you made it on G2, so you stopped it. But you have these isolated pawns, A2 and C3 on the queen side that you have to keep an eye on for white, and black has no real weaknesses. And we have the tiebreak procedure up on screen for everyone who is wondering. I don't think it's going to happen. I still think that Levon is taking this match. But if this game – quickly.
This game goes for white.
Yeah.
And there you have it. If a match is tied after regulation, which means the time runs out like an NBA game or a lot of other sports, we do have overtime, which is a 4-game mini-match of 1+1. So the fastest time control continues to be where they have to duke it out. If we do not have a winner there, we will go to Armageddon, which is a single game with time advantage for white but draw odds for black, meaning a split peaceful game means black will still win. So there you have it right there. That is the tiebreak format. And will we have it? Who knows? We've had it before.
G5. Now, that's a move that you would totally see in a classical game. Anytime I see that move in a bullet game, I'm scared.
I want to take it back.
Yeah, because when your king gets weak and you start getting scared, you get emotional, you're not playing objective chess, then you're in trouble. But right now, Levon's playing very well in this game, and he's taking up a lot of time because we're on move 27. So we've added taken away another minute from the match timer. A5.
A5, what a move. But I think B5 is the response, and now C4 is a square. Too many explosives to happen here. Boom goes the dynamite. Insert ridiculous pop culture joke. I paid my dues. Okay. You remember Boom goes the dynamite?
Yeah.
13,000 people do, I bet, too.
This is a good move, C4. Look at the time. 7 seconds. Alireza playing fast. There's a knight on E5 hanging if you move your queen off of its
C5 happens. Okay,
Rook
this
D6
game is
coming.
turned around. Who's better? The knight's hanging.
Oh, my gosh.
Rook takes D8, queen takes C5, wins a piece.
Yes,
Levon
it does.
has blundered.
Oh, he's
Levon.
upset. Play Levon.
Play
Don't
on
resign.
Levon.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
No, you need to play that on.
He's not protecting his lead in the match format, and we have a 2-game advantage only.
He needs to play on.
He needs to play on and take time off the clock. He's forgetting the match strategy. I know the staff is there, but I want to remind them, I'm sure we are letting the players know of how much time remains officially on the game clock. They are usually aware, and we always suggest to them in pre-match pep talks, or let's say format talks, to keep their own timer so that they're aware. But yeah, the players are being informed. We have this is just nuts.
I just can't believe he's
What
resigning.
a comeback right now. He's resigning. He's not playing it out. I mean, he could take another 30 seconds off each of these losses, and we'd be talking about, a good effort, young man, but not enough time to come back.
Queen
Right
C6.
now, it's legit. It could happen.
I thought he was going to play queen C6, keep the bind going.
Okay, this is better for white now.
But it's the double-edged position that black needs to play. If you give the 2 bishops,
For sure.
if
for
you
sure.
ever play F5, which is an aggressive move,
Yep.
then the bishop gets the G5 square for the diagonal.
Yep.
So bishop G4 is a very good move, and you want the C4
You're preaching
square.
to the choir right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. Exciting stuff. Here comes F5 for white. Queen F3, maybe
I think
E5, and then knight E4.
Yeah, I like queen F3. You don't want to commit to the
take
F5
it slow.
push.
Take it slow. Slow jam it. Slow jam at Jamie Foxx, bringing the knight in.
But then bishop e7, c4 is coming. Like, this is good play for black. I'm not saying that white is any worse.
Plenty of time. F5.
So he's giving up e5 to go f6.
I think you should take with the queen.
On f5?
Yeah, to try to get the ladies off. Because if you take with the pawn, Levon's not taking. He's going to try to get an attack.
I think he's still going to take.
You think so?
Yeah, he's just going to try to trade off some pieces. Because what black's compensation or plays go c4, now go knight e4. Oh, but then you take on f5.
Yeah.
That was tricky.
Wow.
Wait, take on g6. Wait,
queen h3.
Wait, why didn't he take on g6?
No.
Why didn't he take on g6?
Oh, he was just going to win a7 at the end.
Yeah.
He is not calculating well.
What was that?
Levon just misses a chance to win. If you had taken g6, queen f3, in the end, everybody, after trade, black loses the bishop on e7 with just a win of a piece.
And if you took with the f-pawn, there's queen d5 check. He missed that probably. And right now,
he's going to trade queens?
c5 is hanging, so bishop e7, f6, and then you take c5.
So he's still better, but he just missed a win.
Yeah. Oh,
now you should
take it. Knight d7's coming. Watch out.
Oh, knight d7. This could be it. This could be the match right here. If Levon wins this game, mathematically, Alireza will be down too much to come back.
So do I play knight e4 and just allow your bishop to e3?
Knight e4 is the practical thing to do, too. Just sit on the clock.
The annoying thing is that the c1 square is covered. So if I get rook c8 in and you can't compete with c5.
Yeah, black is still in the game. Here comes rook c8.
Here it is.
Now if knight e4, there's rook c2.
I like b4.
b4 is a huge move.
But if you go rook e2.
Keeps the c-file closed.
If you go rook e2, there's some bishop c1 stuff. You have to be very careful here.
Yeah. The king's going to come up, though. King's coming up.
Knight e4 check.
Knight e4 check, and you can't take f5.
King e5.
Ah, okay. 5 seconds, 4 seconds.
Here comes the king.
1 minute remains. If Alireza wins this
game.
King
d5. Rook f1 check. Oh, that would have thrown in the check probably.
Rook
that's why I would have thrown the check. I don't want the king all the way up in my face.
But if Alireza wins this game, there will be enough
time. He's winning. F4.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Absolutely crazy what's about to happen here.
Wait, is he winning, though? F2, rook somewhere, then b6, b7?
I have no idea.
This is a must-win situation. Wait, young rook! No, but F2!
No, knight F2. Knight E4 doesn't stop it.
Oh, my gosh.
What a trick.
Oh, my gosh.
What a trick by Alireza. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids. Oh, my gosh. Here comes 2 pawns. The connected are better than none.
But H3.
Only a minute remains on the total game clock. But if Alireza wins this game...
Knight F2. Take on H3.
Knight F2 takes H3.
Rook takes F3, and then rook takes F4.
Huge. Alireza may have just lost the match with that blunder.
Oh, my gosh. B7. Oh, it's over. King A7.
B8 queen is coming.
It's over.
I don't know yet. There's still enough time.
Knight G1. Knight E2 check. Knight E2 check. Rook takes F2.
Rook and takes D4. And Levon Aronian has staved off the comeback with that draw.
And Firouzja's laughing.
Firouzja is officially eliminated because with 30 seconds left, though this game counts, and every game has a little bit of prize money on the line, the comeback is over. He looks up. What a great performance. Let's remind everybody of the prizes for those who don't watch the Speed Chess Championship as much as they now will. That was drama. Not only does the winner win the majority of the cash, but remember, the rest of the money is split by win percentage. So it's one of the things we really like about the format because it means that even this game probably counts for about $40. Okay, a little bit of cash, right? Take the lady out. But either way, the match is officially over because with a 2-game lead, Levon could lose this game and still move on to the quarterfinals.
And credit to Alireza, who made this really close. But what did I say earlier? 4-game deficit heading into the bullet was probably
enough.
What Alireza needed.
Right.
But it was 5 games.
Just short.
Yeah, it was 5 games.
You're a prophet today. Give me some of that, baby. Just so you know, we're just getting started. Right after this match, we have another Speed Chess Championship affair. Vladislav Artemiev of Russia will take on Alexander Grishuk. We will have a very, very short break, and we have another Speed Chess Championship match coming right up after this. So don't go anywhere. Plenty of chess ahead. This is our first ever doubleheader for the SCC, and I don't think we could have started off with anything better.
I mean, I'm mesmerized by the play here. Alireza in the bullet has been great.
Yep.
And it's easy to forget because of how long ago it seems that Levon totally dominated the 5-minute portion.
Yeah, look at that.
7-2
score.
And it wasn't just the score. It was the way he played.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yep.
And, all credit to Levon for winning this match, but Alireza, he's young. He's 16 years old.
Yep.
Just if he gets more experience, if he gets a little bit more opening knowledge, that comes with experience. I'm not trying to criticize his openings. He's actually obviously an amazing opening player. When you get the more experience, you can play different things, feel more comfortable in different variations. And once he gets that, I mean, the guy's going to be an absolute just monster in these SECs for years to come.
Absolutely crazy stuff. The Speed Chess Championship rolls on here. Remember, again, like I said, another match coming up right after this, and we will have interviews first, of course. We'll talk to the players, both of them, in terms of what their match strategy was, how they felt about different critical moments, and get their insights. So a lot of fun when we hear from the players and get their thoughts. Here comes D5, Queen A7. Called it. I think Firouzja's going to win with a crazy attack and finish just one game short.
Yeah, that D5 move is really nice. Queen's coming to A7, as you pointed out, to A8 for checkmate. If you go king to B8,
Here it
you
comes.
didn't do it.
It's over.
Oh, is the king running?
He's surviving.
Knight takes E5. Knight takes E5.
There's knight B6, and then
Nah,
rook takes D5.
There's also
Oh
rook
no,
takes
the
E5
queen
right
guards
away.
it.
But there's rook takes D5 right away.
That should be enough.
So is there any other move that can prolong this? Because rook takes E5, bishop D6, and just take on E5.
And then the king runs, but white's winning.
I would sack the queen. Sack the queen on E5.
Actually, yeah, and look at the king. It's in a weird net.
Okay, he did it in a different way. I don't like that one as much, I don't think. But he's still got plenty of play thanks to the pawn on F3. The king on H1 is stuck there. Wait,
Pretty
that's
crazy.
He just
Ooh,
hung
but
that-
now you hang the rook, and it's
knight
okay.
C6. He's hung
Over.
everything.
And we have the final game being a victory for Alireza Firouzja, which means he only loses this match by 1 point when it's all said and done. 13.5 to 12.5 is the final score about to be updated. Wowzers. We are going to have interviews in just a moment. When we return, we will hear from both the winner, Levon Aronian, the loser, Alireza Firouzja. More Speed Chess Championship. We'll be right back. 8 of the most elite Chess 960 players on the planet are set to clash in the FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship quarterfinals beginning October 4th and ending October 6th, played exclusively on Chess.com. It's a game where creativity is king and memorization is impossible, and only one player will earn the right to call themselves the king of Fischer Random. Vladimir Fedoseev, Alireza Firouzja, Wesley So, Fabiano Caruana, Peter Spidler, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Vidit Gujarati, and Hikaru Nakamura. These players will take center stage as they attempt to outwit and outclass each other in a chess variant that many consider to be the game in its purest form. The FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship quarterfinals will be an event like no other. With over $350,000 in prizes up for grabs, it is the biggest prize fund for any event in online chess history. Will you tune in to witness who moves on from the quarterfinals to join Magnus Carlsen in Oslo? Tune in on the first weekend of October on Chess.com TV and Twitch.tv/chess. It's the FIDE World Fischer Random Chess Championship organized by Dunde S and Chess.com. And we are back now with the players after what was one of the most exciting chess matches, let alone speed chess matches, we've ever had the pleasure of commentating on. Levon, you told us just now as we were waiting off camera that you felt like you needed about a 5 or 6 game lead headed into Bullet to stave off what might come from the young Alireza. How nervous were you there as he was mounting his comeback?
Pretty nervous because I didn't see the score. I didn't know how long we have to play. So the timer idea generally does make sense. But yeah.
Alireza, what were your thoughts coming in as far as how you looked at this match? Obviously, you know you're playing a very, very strong chess player, one of the world's elite, but you know you're looking for Bullet. What were your thoughts in terms of your match strategy, and what did you think you needed to have the score being headed into Bullet?
I think I played good in Blitz. I won the first game, and second game I was just completely winning with Rook C4 instead of Rook B5 that he took on B5, and I was just lost Rook C4. He should just resign, I think. But after that, he just played very good, and I don't know. And I think after that it was not easy to get a better result than what happened in the match.
Yeah, and Levon, you seem to really enjoy these English positions. Was that specific preparation for the match today, or was it just spur-of-the-moment decision-making?
Well, I tried E4, and then I didn't like what I've got, so I switched to my usual openings.
Well, there was a lot of variety to it, though. I mean, you were playing the English. Was that just you kind of taking what Alireza was trying against the English, or was there any strategy there that you felt like you were getting good positions and so you stuck with it?
Well, I think in a long match like this, you start trying the openings. So I tried E4, then I didn't like what I got. Then I tried C4, and I liked what I got. So, and then I stuck playing it. So I guess that's how you generally play the Blitz, long matches in Blitz. You first try to find what your opponent doesn't feel comfortable with.
Alireza, Levon also said off camera as we were getting ready to go live for the fans here that he wonders now if maybe you had resigned that long queen and pawn ending, if maybe you would have had more time on the clock. What did you ever have any thoughts about that? I know you were very aware of the timer. Obviously, you kind of knew in the end, right, when Levon held that draw, that you had run out of opportunities. So, did you have any gamesmanship or thoughts going in your head about strategies in terms of maybe resigning a game like that?
I think I was down like 7 points there, and I was not really thinking about comeback. So I was just moving the pieces, and yeah, maybe that was my mistake, and for the next time I should think about such things.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Levon, with a huge lead, there were some positions you resigned, which I was saying, you just play it out till checkmate, essentially, to waste more time. Did that ever go through your mind to suffer a bad position for as long as possible?
Um, I come to the conclusion that if you are doing such things, then you're being petty. And despite the fact that I am a terrible bullet player, well, it comes because I don't have any experience. I hope. I'm not. I'm not petty like that.
Well, we were wondering. Obviously, all of us on the edge of our seats as time was ticking away and this became a closer match. But overall, of course, in the blitz portion, you played very well and had the lead you needed. Alireza, this was your first ever main Speed Chess Championship. Obviously, we'll be very excited to have you back. But now that you've played in a couple of these, you played in the Junior Speed Chess Championship, you played in the main event. Any takeaways to share? What you've learned about the different formats, the different time controls, how to keep your head in the game? Any thoughts to share about your experience that you've had over these last few months?
I think I didn't play enough games in Chess.com this increment before the match, and I'm not playing normally with increments, so that was my problem. And for overall, I think in bullet portion, I think I should just play without nervous, because in the first two games of bullet today, I just played very bad. And then when I thought I have no chance, then I played so good, I think. So I think first two games or three games of bullet matter a lot, I think.
My last question, maybe our last question, will be then for you, Levon. Congratulations again. You're moving on. Right after this match, we have Vladislav Artemiev taking on Alexander Grishuk. You've played Sasha before in this format, but as you look at those two guys, who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting for to win and play you in the quarterfinals?
Overall, I would root for Grishuk because he's a guy of my generation, I guess. There is some camaraderie there, but I don't know. I never played against Artemiev, so that could also be exciting. So, I mean, all in all, I will root for some good games.
Okay.
And I got one last question for you, Alireza. Tomorrow starts the Fisher Random World Championship quarterfinals. How are you feeling about the 960 event beginning just tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a very tough event and long one, so I should just prepare tonight and recover from this match. I hope I get the best results tomorrow.
You could face anybody. You could face anyone from Hikaru
Yes.
to Jan Nepomniachtchi to Vladimir Fedoseev. Any favorite picks? Not that we have any say-so over that, but just curious.
And everybody is tough there, so I should just play my good chess and we will see.
Yeah. Well, Levon, I know Ponchik is waiting for a walk. Can you show him on camera real quick so I can say hi?
Yes.
What language does Ponchik speak? Armenian, English, Russian, all of the above?
Ponchik mostly, I think, speaks Twitter
He
troll.
speaks all kinds of languages, but right now he's angry.
Right now he's angry because he wants a walk. There he is. Look how cute he is. Ponchik, Ponch the Meister. Follow on Twitter, @Ponch the Meister. If you're looking for the best follow on Twitter, there he is right there. All right, well, Levon, congratulations. Alireza, also congratulations. A great match, an incredible few months here with all these Speed Chess Championship matches. We thank you for doing it and giving all of us a lot to cheer for. And Levon, best of luck. We will see you, I guess, in a few weeks. Don't know when our quarterfinals begin, but we'll see you then.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Ponchik.
All right. Well, we need a Ponch emote. I told Levon if we can get him streaming, and he's always, I don't know if he can throw down streaming. He's too busy for that. But we got to get Ponch an emote so the fans can spam it. There it is. Chessface got a. I can't tell. Is that a cat dog? That's a. What is that? Is that a?
What a
What
throwback
is it?
TV
What is
show.
that? A cat dog. Oh man.
But we do have one match coming up. Artemiev versus Grishuk. Aronian made his preference known. His good friend Alexander Grishuk. But it's anyone's match in that one.
Right there, you see it. The 6-11 matchup. Two Russians, one of the younger generation, the new guard taking on the old guard, a former World Blitz champion, that and Alexander Grishuk. So a lot is ahead here as we get set to take another very quick break, mainly because we need the players to join us. No real plans to be long, so sorry for those of you that are just anxious. Robin and I are going to do our best to refresh ourselves before we wreck ourselves, and we will be back probably in about 10 minutes. The stream's going to stay live, so everyone take a snack, but don't close your browser. And our Timmy versus Grishuk, more Speed Chess Championship action coming back when we return.